Florida respectfully acknowledges that it is located on the traditional lands of the Ice, Appalachee, Calusa, Timucua, and Tocobago tribes, as well as the Seminole Tribe of Florida and the Miccosukee Tribe of Indians in Florida. Roll call and verification of quorum. Chair Gaudio.
Luke Hall. Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. Anna Reed.
Present.
Olivia Smith.
Present.
Angelia Warshis. Gabriel Casimiro.
Present.
Christopher Corelli.
Present.
James Kapanos.
Present.
JC Lim.
Present.
Hasra Sadvika. Jonah Scott.
Present.
Ni Chao. Shivi Jain.
Present.
Owen Sherman. Present. Danae Smith.
Present.
Arwa Ali. Melva D.
Present.
Jason Hamid.
Present.
Ryan Kaufman.
Present.
Nicholas Licht. Present. Jordan Metellus.
Present.
Kai Prohl.
Present.
Peter Rorcasa.
Present.
Samuel Rose. Grace Rudy.
Present.
Daisy Trejo Hernandez.
Present.
Larry Fawcett.
Present.
Mohammed Kidwai. Nathan Rickett.
Present.
Kushi Chauhan.
Present.
Bobby Escobar.
Present.
Ibrahim Nassim. Rose Rodriguez.
Present.
Katrina Wanjan. Ella Weiderberg. Corson Green. Diana Wynn. Anthony Bonaventure.
Present.
Veronica Perez.
Present.
Lima Alcuda. El Banash. Jocelyn Candeloro.
Present.
Kirsten Courts.
Present.
Victoria Jones.
Present.
Angelique Leon.
Present.
Abby Matthews.
Present.
Isabella McRae. Spurthi Nursimadevra. Cameron Renda. Alex Rosenblum. Mariah Simmons.
Present.
Mila Teodorescu.
Present.
Juan Varela. Julia Zivan.
Present.
Jordan Lipner.
Present.
36 out of 51. 36 out of 56.
Okay, everyone take a look at last meeting's minutes, and is there a motion to approve last meeting's minutes? Can you guys be a little louder? I didn't hear. Okay, perfect. And then take a look at today's agenda, and is there a motion to approve today's agenda? Okay, open forum. Anybody here to speak in open forum? Seeing none. Announcements from the student body president, President Blanco.
Good evening, everyone. I did better today. I was waiting in the wings, so I didn't have to watch me walk all the way down. Hope you all had a great week. This week I had a luncheon where I got to speak with the site reviewers from the Higher Learning Commission. So the university is currently in the process of applying to be a part of the Higher Learning Commission, which is just a different way for our universities, degrees, and education to be accredited. So it's a great opportunity. So fingers crossed that all goes well. I also attended the student forum for that as well. Jarib and I went to the Student Success and Wellbeing Leadership meeting. And then today we had our introductory meeting with Chief and Deputy Chief over at PD. So that was also great. Beyond that, Jarib and I have worked really hard this week to start onboarding our team since everyone's confirmations. So congratulations to everyone for that. We're super excited. And then I've also been knee deep in preparing for my first BOT meeting next week, June 11th and 12th. So going forward, I have a couple appointments to make. So for the Election Commission, I hereby appoint seat 2, Brianna Phillips, seat 4, Andrew Colazo Borges, seat 6, Cameron Njemi, seat 7, Morgan McCarthy, seat 8, Marcia or Lena, seat 10, Victoria Calloway, seat 11, Aaron Wikes, sorry. Seat 12, Jada Wesley. Seat 13, Brian Gonzalez. And seat 14, Emily Mello. And for the judicial branch, I hereby appoint Chief Justice as Bella Pizzera. And that's all I got for you guys this week.
Any questions for the student body president? Seeing none.
This one. Gotcha. Thank you.
Seeing none. Thank you.
Y'all can
So
team
sorry
chat.
over the down.
All right, comptrollers, wait, announcement from the student body vice president, President Benitez, apologies.
See, I'm not good with numbers, so that would have been bad. But good evening, Senate. First, I want to thank every single one of you that helped our team get confirmed these past 2 weeks. It was great. Thank you so much to everyone. I truly appreciate it. This week, I had the opportunity to sit in on several interviews for our graphic designs position, as well as a couple of our election commissions. We're still in the process of determining who will be our graphics design, so that will come very shortly. And then congratulations to everyone who got appointed from the election commission, and also congratulations, Interim Chief Justice Bella. I also attended the University Budget Planning Committee this week, and other than that, our introduction meetings have been continuing as planned. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Any questions for the vice president? Seeing none, thank you. Comptroller's report, Comptroller Drinkwater.
Alrighty, good evening, Senate. This week I met with Sammy, the ORS chair, and we had a great conversation about how we're planning to work together this semester and support each other in however way we can. I also met with Bella, our interim chief justice. We reviewed both the allocated budget and the past budget from the last fiscal year, and we're planning to meet again soon to look over the upcoming year's financial plans. On top of that, I've been attending the sports club council meetings throughout this week. This afternoon, actually just an hour ago, we wrapped up final budget reviews and allocations this afternoon. It's been super interesting to learn more about how SCC operates and handles funding. I've also been attending fiscal committee meetings whenever my schedule allows, so I can stay in the loop and provide guidance when necessary. If you ever have any questions, suggestions, or ideas, my door is always open. And the FAO current account balance is $5,439.15 with a reversion rate of 4.48%. And the current CRT account balance is $706.26 with a reversion of 3.86%.
Any questions for the comptroller? Seeing none, thank you. Attorney General's report, AG Altunia.
Good evening, Senators. Thank you all so much for confirming me. I'm really excited for the year ahead, and I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunity to serve alongside you. For today's report, it is a little bit longer, so please bear with me. First and foremost, I'm very proud and excited to share that the student government statutes have been fully updated. When I entered this role, one of the most pressing issues was the significant backlog of unincorporated legislation. The statutes had not been updated to reflect around 40 pieces of legislation passed in the 56th session, beginning with SB 5622 and concluding with SB 5672. Thank you so much again for your support. And I also want to thank the OSI for their incredible cooperation, because this process was a one-time scenario. The turnaround was only possible due to their extraordinary support, but future updates are going to take a few more days just because, and that's how NQ works, and it does take a little bit more time. This past week, I also had the opportunity to attend and report for my first time at LJR, and I want to thank Chair Gaudio and Vice Chair Trejo Hernandez for their warm welcome and their leadership, and I look forward to a productive and collaborative year. I also met with Speaker Courts, who has been incredibly helpful with questions and clarifying questions as well. And on the judicial side, I also connected with the Interim Chief Justice, and I'll be shadowing the justices on future student case hearings to train myself more in regards to appeals and SCI. I'm also currently drafting a compliance calendar for the executive branch to make sure that we're on time, meeting deadlines on statutes. And I'm also in the process of completing my ethics training. And then earlier this week, yesterday, I sent an email to branch leadership and committee chairs, not only to open a line of communication, but also to provide direct access to the PDFs of the statutes. So if you have any questions about any of the internal legislation, or if you happen to see an error or anything that might have missed in the codification process, please feel free to text me or email me, and I'll make the corrections right away. And then looking ahead to next week, my next priorities are updating the Senate Rules of Order, launching a public submission form for the Attorney General opinions, and updating any new legislations passed today and signed by President Blanco and Dr. Frame. Thank you again for your time, your service, and your trust, and I'm here to support you however I can, and I am very excited to work with you all this year.
Any questions for the Attorney General? Seeing none, thank you. Cabinet Forum, none. Announcements from the Interim Chief Justice, Pizarro.
Good evening, Senate. First of all, I would like to thank both Speaker Courts and Chair Escobar for not only facilitating the Associate Justice confirmations, but doing them all today in order to fill the judicial branch as soon as possible, as well as President Blanco, Vice President Benitez, AG Altuna, and Comptroller Drinkwater for helping facilitate the judicial branch's transition period. Secondly, I will give a quick reminder that the judicial branch is made up of 14 associate justices, and 8 of these seats are currently open, and all of the appointees for those seats will appear before the Senate tonight. And last, best of luck to all of the confirmations happening.
Any questions for the Interim Chief Justice? Seeing none, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Announcements from the Supervisor of Elections, none. Announcements from the Activity and Service Fee Committee Chair, none. Announcements from the Scholarship Committee Chair, none. Caucus reports, none. Announcements from the Senate President. Okay, I had many meetings today. I met with the fiscal chairs, the DLEG and Shane to talk about the RSOs, how they're going to be reorganized and what that means for us funding wise. Me and Pro Temp Hamid had our introductory meeting with the UCF PD Chief Carl Metzger. We had our first Senate exec meeting. We're going to have those bi-weekly. And today we're starting to see the justices, and with luck, we'll get through them tonight. The first 4 were passed unanimously by ENA. So that was really good. And then I added a link that's to my office hours. I did it through a booking thing that Outlook has. So if I have any meetings, it just automatically takes the time away. So yeah, office hours live next week. Any questions for me? Seeing none, internal legislative assistant report, ILA Rudy.
Hi, Senate. I talked to the Chief of Staff Pearson about initial conversations for SGLC, but because we don't have the judicial end all wrapped up yet, we haven't done anything set in stone. And then I'm currently working with Speaker Courts about Welcome Week and the Legislative Day. More details will be coming soon. So feel free to reach out if you need anything from me.
Any questions for the ILA? Seeing none, external legislative assistant report, ELA Reed.
Hey everyone, so I'm getting started on some of my initiatives, so there'll be many more updates on that to come later. Tomorrow I'm meeting with Chair Valera and the Director of Communications to talk about GAP newsletter and what social media is going to look like for Senate. Media training is also going to happen towards the end of the month, which everyone has to complete, so stay tuned for that. Thank you.
Any questions for the ELA? Chair Gaudio.
Not a question, but the chair is not here, so I will do it in his place. Varela.
Okay, Senate President Pro Tempore report, Pro Temp Hamid.
Hi, everyone. So I hope you're all doing great. So non-compliances have been sent out to those who have not completed their financial training. They were sent to your personal and your Senate emails, so please check both of those. Please send me your passing scores, which is an 80 out of 100 on all modules. There's 4 of them before Monday. Monday is when they take effect. But please do that, pretty please. I'm working on adding more orientation times. I'm actually using the same booking system that Kirsten's doing. I actually have it all set up. I'm just gonna put the link in. What? Oh, sorry. I have the same booking system as the Senate President through Outlook. I have it made. I'm going to put the link into the agenda in a minute. So if you have not contacted me to either complete your training or complete your orientation, or for those who have attended only one day to confirm that you don't want to do an orientation or that you do, I'm going to be sending non-compliance out on Monday. Orientation signups from here on out will be done through Outlook. As I just said, I'm going to be that just explains what that is. Never mind. So it's going to be like a 30-minute time block. I'll send announcements when those have been made tomorrow as well, just in case. Also, once I'm done with orientations, going to be opening up my office hours for people to come visit. I'll announce when orientations are over, so hopefully by the end of next week. Also, please attend your committee meetings. If you can't tell your chair, if you can't attend your committee meetings, tell your chair ahead of time. All committees have different absence policies, so please make sure you're aware of your own. And then if you have to be absent for more than 2 times, the committee chair can kick you out. Also, if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know.
All right, Banesh and then Rickett.
So, wait, actually, never mind.
Okay, Senator Rickett.
For the pro temp question, can you let us or let everybody know how many senators are in non-compliance? I don't need any specific names.
Currently, I'd have to check. A few people did come out of non-compliance recently. I think it's about 3.
Okay, any other questions for the pro temp? Seeing none, Deputy Pro Tempore of Legislative Affairs, D-Leg Kaufman.
All right, I'm currently working on finalizing both the fiscal and legislative trackers to be available to all of you. And as a reminder, for those that were not here during the special session on Monday, all of our funding forms are officially open, so that's very exciting. And any legislation you want to see during the Senate session must be submitted by 5 p.m. the previous day by emailing both me and the pro temp. And if you have any questions about how to get started with that, feel free to reach out. Today's legislation will be seeing 1 resolution on first reading, nothing on third reading, and 2 internal bills on second reading.
Okay, Banesh.
For those forms that were just released, that's for the next fiscal year. Is it still for this fiscal year?
It'll be for the next fiscal year, the 2025-2026 fiscal year, starting July 1st.
All right, any other questions for the D-Leg? Seeing none, Deputy Pro Tempore of Senate Relations, D. Sir Capinos.
Good evening, Senate. I hope everyone is having a good summer. I just want to let you guys know that I just got the RSO list. So I'm going to be working on reorganizing that list into colleges and then work on the forms to send out to all of you. So hopefully those will be updated within the coming weeks. And that way you can choose which RSOs that you guys would like to represent and be in communication with. I also just finished the forms for our events that we're going to be having for the summer. So it's going to be very exciting. I put that in the minutes in the agenda today. So if you can just take 3 minutes to just look at those forms and fill them out, be really quick. Also send a reminder to do that tomorrow. If you can't get to it tonight, no worries. And then if you have any questions or concerns or have ideas for events that you guys would like to see, I'm hoping to get 3 events in for the summer session, and then we'll have a lot more going to the fall and the spring. But if you guys have any concerns or any ideas that you'd like to implement into that process, feel free to email me and let me know.
Any questions for the D, sir? Chair Gaudio.
You mentioned organizing the RSOs by colleges. We'll be allowed to request RSOs that are outside of our college, right?
Yes, that is correct. I was going to organize them into colleges and then have other questions within the forms that allow you to get specific RSOs if you have like the names that you want, or if you want to request from colleges outside of our own. Yes.
Senator Lipner.
How will we be sorting RSO to the fall?
We did not hear what you said. Would you?
How will we be sorting RSO to the fall?
I think I got your question. Is it asking how we're going to be sorting the RSOs by college? For that question, I'm going to use the UCF database in their websites to look through which colleges or to which RSOs and then put that within the forms. But like I said before, you can also choose outside of your college if there's a specific RSO that you're passionate about and you want to represent outside of that.
Any other questions for the D, sir? Seeing none, old business none, fiscal committee caucus time none, fiscal committee reports, CRT committee chair Sherman.
Hi, Senate. On Tuesday, we met briefly to go over Title VIII before seeing requests next week. So far, we have 8 allocation requests in the Night Connect form. So by the submission deadline on Sunday, we should have a fair amount to get through. I'm also going to be looking at updating the Night Connect form to kind of clarify how much funding individuals can request, because every request so far has been for more than we can give them.
Any questions for the CRT chair? Seeing none, FAO committee, Chair Lucht.
Hello, everyone. We did not meet formally today because we didn't have quorum, but I did go over Title 8 with whoever was there, and then nothing submitted yet on our form, so.
Any questions for the FAO chair? Seeing none, Green.
President voting.
Senator Green, President voting, so noted at 6:21 p.m. ORS committee, Chair Rose. None. Fiscal committee, fiscal legislation, none. Internal committee caucus time, ENA, 40 minutes. I adjourn this meeting at 6:22. We will reconvene at 7:02.
Again, as a reminder, if you're not in ENA, feel free to join the breakout room. If you are in ENA, stay in the main room. If you're in person and you're not in ENA, you can go do whatever you want to, or you can stay here and watch.
Yeah, here will be fine. But yeah, if everyone, let me turn my camera on. And then Vice Chair Chow, are you present?
Yes, I am present. Is my audio working?
Yes, perfect. Let me pull up the agenda and I'll call the meeting to order. I hereby call this meeting to order at 6:23 p.m. Roll call and verification of quorum. Vice Chair Chow.
Chair Escobar?
Present.
Senator Rodriguez? Senator Matthews?
Present.
Senator Rickett?
Present.
Senator Rehokase?
Present.
Senator Banesh?
Here.
Senator Candeloro?
Present.
Senator Trejo Hernandez?
Present.
Senator Gaudio?
Present.
Senator Metellus?
Present.
Senator Lipner?
Present.
Senator Reed?
Present.
Pro Temp Rep Capinos?
Present.
LJ Rep Sherman?
Present.
Okay, 12 out of 13, quorum's met.
With quorum verified, is there a motion to approve last meeting's minutes? Is there a motion to approve this agenda? Just take a look at it. Approved by general consent. Announcements from the chair. Good afternoon, everyone. We're caucusing today to see for Associate Justice confirmations. So be ready with appropriate questions. And thank you for last meeting. We went by very effectively. So just keeping that energy, and I appreciate it. And then feel free to refer to the justice section of the ENA questioning diary, as well as the JRP on the student government website, and as well as Title V. And then again, I may call on members for questions. Are there any questions for myself? Seeing none, announcements from Vice Chair Chow.
Hi, everyone. So sorry if you hear some noise in the background. Let's just keep running super efficiently. Remember to be germane, relevant, and efficient in terms of questioning or debate. And I will say that earlier, for a previous meeting, there was a lot of rain, and currently I'm in Vietnam, so my internet was going in and out. So if you do notice that I'm out of a meeting, or if I somehow disconnected, or if I stopped typing, I would just appreciate if any committee member that is asking questions or speaking in debate could type in their own questions or statements, just to keep the meeting going smoothly.
Thank you. And are there any questions for Vice Chair Chow? Seeing none, announcements from committee members? None. Announcements from non-committee members? None. Old business? None. New business? Again, we're seeing the confirmations. And firstly, we will see Bianca Nunez for Associate Justice Seat 4. Is there a motion for a 552? You object? Is there a motion?
A motion for a 585.
There's been a motion for a 585. Are there any objections? Seeing none, Bianca Nunez, you have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
All right. Good evening, ENA. Would you just like me to start by saying my speech? Perfect. Okay. Good evening, ENA. I would first like to start out by thanking everyone here for providing me with the opportunity to speak this evening. For those of you who don't know me, hello, my name is Bianca Nunez, and I am a junior majoring in political science with a minor in legal studies on the pre-law track. Today, I'm here before you as Seat 4 Associate Justice Confirmee. A little bit about my background. I was born and raised in South Florida, finding a strong sense of community there due to the large Latin presence, as well as it being all I knew. Transitioning to the University of Central Florida, I wanted to find a similar sense of community, in which I was able to find during my time in SGLC and the subsequent JLC program. Throughout this, I gained a further love for serving my community, whether it was handing out flyers or during lounging with the lawyer or giving out candy during Candy with the Council. It was one of the most rewarding experiences of my college career and helped me find a sense of purpose on this big campus. Since joining the branch, the heart of my mission has remained the same: to serve the students with integrity and dedication. But everything else around me has evolved. When I first stepped into this role, I came in eager to learn, determined to understand the organization I had just become a part of. I wanted to ensure I could represent and serve the student body in the most meaningful way possible. Throughout that commitment, I wanted to fully immerse myself. I was a member of every committee. I seized every opportunity to contribute and slowly began shaping my vision into action. One of my first goals was to make our judicial services more accessible and transparent. That began with social media. Not just one post, but a full campaign that broke down each of our services in a clear and digestible way. We took it a step further and created videos to walk students through our services, making sure that no student would be left behind simply because they did not know where to begin. And this was all before JAM was even a committee. From working in IRC to help write the language that created the committee to being appointed as chair, it was a full circle moment, one that reminded me just how far I had come, but also how much more there was still to do. When looking forward to the future, there are so many ways in which I intend to further leave my mark on the judicial branch. One of my main initiatives that I am passionate about is advocating for whistleblower protections in the election violations process. Through my direct experience with the election violation appeals process, I began to notice a troubling pattern. While requiring a student's identity when filing a case may help prevent false and malicious claims, it also deters students with legitimate concerns from coming forward out of fear of retaliation or being personally targeted. This is not just a procedural issue, but it's a barrier to justice. While the judicial branch cannot directly change this policy of the Election Commission, we can and should play a role in advocating for students' rights. As a judicial member, we are bound by impartiality, but that does not mean we should remain silent on procedural flaws that impact fairness. Our duty is to uphold students' rights, and raising these concerns through appropriate channels is part of that responsibility. Again, I'm incredibly honored to have been considered for this position, as well as thankful for all the senators present here tonight. And with that, I yield my time for questioning.
Thank you. We are now in 8 minutes of debate. Senator Rickett. Oh, we are now in 8 minutes of questioning.
Mr. Chairman, 2 questions if I may.
You may.
Okay, first question to the candidate. Can you explain the parking appeals process, please?
Absolutely. So a student will get a ticket, and we're not the first level appeals, but we're the second level appeals. So essentially, they'll get their response from parking services. Obviously, it would have been denied if they come to us, or upheld rather. They come to us, and then we essentially look at that case, whether it's a virtual, like a written kind of discussion or a Zoom discussion. They tell us a little bit about the case, send us some evidence, just a little bit more information so that we have a better gist of the whole situation. And from there, we vote as a council whether we want to uphold essentially what parking services said and uphold the ticket. We can reduce it to a fee of $10, or we can remove it completely for the student.
Follow-up question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Okay, my second question is, what are some of your statutory requirements for being a justice?
So one of our statutory requirements is remaining fair and impartial. Another one of our statutory requirements is to serve as a mentor to JLCers, SGLCers, and also just to serve on internal committees.
Senator Gaudio.
So, with regards to your whistleblower protection sort of initiative, could you go a little more into sort of, I suppose, sort of how aggressively you'll kind of push for that? And if you are going to be aggressive, how will you wrestle that with the neutrality and impartiality that is expected of you as a justice, not just in election proceedings, but in proceedings as a whole?
Of course. So one of the main things that I want to start by doing, and I wrote this in my first kind of initiative statement, is just to have that open conversation, whether it's with the pro temp or even Brody, just kind of getting a better understanding of what that looks like and what that shift and change would look like. I'm not trying to make a big change or a big push because I understand that it's super important to remain impartial. Something else that I included is that in the case that I would need to, there would be a veto or any issue with the bill, I would recuse myself if there were a judicial review proceeding, because that would obviously be unfair and impartial of me if I remained a voting member of the body.
How do you believe that a justice being more proactive in the legislative side of things might reflect on the impartiality of the Judicial Council as a whole?
Okay. Well, I don't for me, I don't think it's a huge push. For me, I think the main root of the issue comes from just seeing it in practice. While I can't go too much into detail of what happened due to FERPA and things like that, essentially a election appeal was brought to us due to there being a violation in due process just because the name of the filer was removed. And in the statutes, it clearly states that it needs to be there as well as their contact information. And the filer ended up taking their statement back because they were fearing for their safety and security because their information was out there. And a lot of questions were being raised about who they were, things like that. So again, it's not that I want to make it something that reflects on the judicial branch. It's just a personal situation that I saw, or personal flaw that I saw, that I thought would be important to bring up since we are here to uphold students' rights. I think for me, it was just important to highlight that issue. And again, if I need to recuse myself in any situation of which this legislation would be brought to the floor, things like that. If it were to be in a judicial review, I would always recuse myself because I understand that I have a stake in this and I wouldn't be able to be completely impartial.
Senator Reed.
Thank you so much for being here. In your opinion, what makes a successful and effective judicial panel?
So one thing that I really, really enjoy about the judicial branch is just like the variety. Um, Speaking from experience, we have just students from all different forms of life as people, but also as just students. We have med students, we have engineers, and I think that's so important because even when it just comes to simple like conversations and discussions, it's so important to have just varying views and being able to just see where different sides of an argument can come from. I think is really, really important and really what makes the what makes a panel really special.
Senator Rickett.
Move to go to debate.
There's been a motion to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now in, what was it? But we're now in 5 minutes of debate. Senator Reed.
Yeah, so I'll be voting in favor of this candidate. I really, really enjoy her proposal for this year. I think her idea about whistleblower protection, I think that's really, really interesting and something that I definitely did not think of. Also, looking through her tabling ideas too, I think they're so cute and fun and something that I think a vast majority of the student body would enjoy. Also, overall, just her success from this past year, and I had the opportunity to get to know her and SGLC as well. Always such a wonderful person, but her success from this past year is definitely very notable, and I would love to see what great things she does in this upcoming year.
Senator Rickett.
May I retain?
You may.
I've had the pleasure of working with this candidate last year, and I will say it was a privilege and an honor being able to serve in student government with her. She has many accolades. She has the mental capacity and the skill and the knowledge to not only be a wonderful student, but a wonderful justice as well. And with that, I move to vote.
There's been a motion to vote. Seeing no objections, we're now voting procedures. This vote will be on the Zoom, so make sure, even if you're in person, that you're on the Zoom so we can have that vote.
And make sure that you don't vote if you're not in ENA. If you're not in the committee, don't vote.
With a vote count of 10 to 0, you've been confirmed by ENA.
Thank you, guys.
We'll now be seeing Noak David for Associate Justice seat number 2. You have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you for meeting me here today for this appointed time. My name is Noak David. I'm a legal studies major projected to graduate spring 2026, and I'm honored to be here today, hoping to be confirmed as an associate justice. I believe that my experiences and character have prepared me for this position. All my life, I've been taught what it means to serve and how to uphold the standards of good moral character. I've learned to apply this in all different facets of life and see the purpose in advocating for my community. Just a little over 2 months ago, I stood before Senate, detailing my past accomplishments and extracurriculars before attending UCF. I described how I learned how to read and comprehend the complexities of government documents through being an intern at my local courthouse. Through managing a credit union, I learned how to collaborate in a small team similar in size to Judicial Council and how to market our services. Through being a tutor, I applied the skills of advising students through difficult concepts as an associate justice would for a grade appeal. I metaphorically described my time as a gardener in correlation to how I want to grow the judicial branch as I grew my own plants at home. Even since I was confirmed as an associate justice, I've continued to grow. I have officially completed my freshman year at UCF, and it has allowed me to discover opportunities, meet new people that became good friends, and truly develop a sense of community. At the beginning, I had my doubts that I would ever be in a leadership position, let alone in associate justice, but I found purpose for me here in student government. I've only been an associate justice for less than 2 months, but this short period of time has educated me well on the true mission of the judicial branch. So far, I have been part of 5 general counsels, several parking appeals, and a judicial review hearing. I have experienced the deliberations that bring about landmark decisions. To my conclusion, the judicial branch is able to uphold the rights of UCF's diverse student body so well due to their strong unity and utmost dedication, core values that I have learned to apply in my daily life. Evidence of this dedication is seen in my growing initiatives. I discussed in my last speech my idea of a visitation week. With the help of my fellow associate justices, we believe that we can make this idea come to life so that students can come attend committee meetings, appeals, and see the judicial branch in action to gain their interest in student government and to understand our services. I also plan to work with the Judicial Advertising and Marketing Committee to make students more aware of parking rules. Overall, I have developed a profound love for being an associate justice, and I am excited to work with the Judicial Council again to continue the good work of upholding student rights through dedicated service. I look forward to being your fellow student government associates. Thank you, and I yield the remainder of my time to questioning.
Thank you. We are now in 8 minutes of questioning. Senator Rickett.
Mr. Chairman, 2 questions, if I may.
You may.
For the candidate, the first question is, what are some of the, can you name some of the boards that the justices serve on?
Yes, so justices will serve on student conduct boards, parking appeals boards, grade appeals boards, as well as student conduct, grade appeals, parking, as well as the fiscal administration and decision board. My apologies.
Follow up, Mr. Chairman.
You may.
Okay, how many articles are in the UCF Constitution?
Yes, there are 6 articles in the UCF Constitution, starting off with the student body, as well as legislative, executive, judicial, the senior student affairs officer, and the amendment process.
Senator Gaudio.
So I was reading through your proposal, and one of your big initiatives was going into the realm of mediation. And so with regards to just how the council functions, is that something that you see being accomplished through just something you kind of do on your own? Would it require changes to the JRP, maybe changes to Title V? If so, what might those changes end up needing to be to facilitate that?
Great question. So for this, I wasn't thinking something that would be somewhat like a new function of the judicial branch, but something that we could do in something like our outreach events so that we will be able to work with our JOC committee, our judicial outreach committee. And it could be like something that we do every now and again to host as like sort of maybe an event that we have here in the Charge on Chamber or somewhere else on campus, but not something that would be like a permanent function per se of the judicial branch.
Senator Burnett.
Move to debate.
There's been
I withdraw.
all right. Senator Lipner.
You look into the existing services that provide videos and users not the events that
Senator Lipner, I apologize. Could you speak a little bit slower?
Yes, sorry about that. My question was, are you aware of any existing services that exist with regard to motivation? Did you look into the flow right?
Lipner, I apologize. Could you type your question in chat and then we could read it aloud? In the meantime, Senator Reed.
Thank you so much for being here today. Just one quick question. How would you ensure impartiality when ruling on cases that involve your peers or personal acquaintances?
Yeah, so according to our JRP, whenever there's a conflict of interest, it's always appropriate for the justice to recuse himself. So if there's ever a peer or somebody involved and that's an inherent conflict of interest, I would choose to recuse myself in that case.
Senator Capinos,
Chair, I have two questions, if I may.
you may.
Alrighty, my first question is, I just want to say I really think that these are some great proposals, but I was looking at the classroom marketing and I was wondering what your process was if you wanted to market in, let's say, a classroom with a professor who doesn't meet that often and they are very strict on their time policy, right? And they only want their students there when they're teaching and not afterwards or beforehand. So my question for you is, would you be working with professors and possibly the director of communications to see this initiative of the classroom marketing through?
Yeah, so for classroom marketing, this is something that I was thinking for the judicial branch to be able to basically expand our reach really. So for example, for the Lounging with the Lawyers event that we had recently, a lot of students that came were from the legal studies department, from the legal studies major, because I went to a lot of my professors and the department head and had them basically let their students know in their classes of the event that was going on. And so if there's a professor that's, maybe strict on students, they can always send an email to students or send an email through the newsletters that happen through the departments. So there's always different ways for professors to let their students know. But as long as us as justices make it I guess, a means to make sure that we let our professors know, our different department heads know, so that students can be made more aware, I think that would expand our marketing pretty well.
All right, thank you. And I have one more question if I can, Chair.
You may.
I was just wondering what your responsibilities are going to look like next year, coming into your sophomore year, if you had any other plans of joining other organizations or clubs or anything that might hinder your ability to fulfill this role as an associate justice.
Yeah, so my sophomore year, I will still be an associate justice. At the same time, I will also be with some other responsibilities with my church because I do a lot of managing virtually from there. But none of that will hinder my responsibilities here as an associate justice. I've also done it this year as well as a freshman for the little time I have been an associate justice. So I've learned how to manage my time and remain organized. So.
And then Senator Lipner's question was, did you look into any existing mediation services at UCF? And how will your proposal differ from those sessions and trainings?
Yeah, so a few mediation things that I've been able to find out about. For example, so like if you have a roommate dispute, they're supposed to go to the RA in order to mediate that. So since we're an appellate court system, I wanted that to be sort of the same thing of how the mediation initiative would work. So there's some things that students go to the RA and the RA, gives them a discourse on what they should move forward next on, and they still feel unsatisfied. And if that's still the case, then they could come to us basically a different opinion. And I also have a professor that teaches in this that I would like to have to be a part of this program. Her name is Abby Milan. She's in legal studies and she teaches mediation and helps with the mediation team. So.
Senator Ganesh.
Move to debate.
There's been a motion to debate. Seeing no objections, we're now in 5 minutes of debate. Senator Reed.
So I'll be voting yes for this candidate. I really enjoy a lot of these ideas and initiatives, especially about the mediation. I think that's super interesting. And I think classroom marketing is really a good way to reach students and something that we don't see very often. And I think that'll be really, really beneficial. And especially like reaching out to professors of a lot of different majors to political science, legal studies, but then also beyond that as well, because everyone can benefit from the judicial branch. So because of these reasons and also a very extensive resume from this candidate, I'll be voting yes, and I encourage you all to do the same.
Senator Ganesh.
I too will be voting in favor of this candidate. He's just so bright-eyed and so idealistic. I love all the ideas. And I love to see a little rising sophomore really do their part on campus. I believe that you will do some amazing work this year, and I have faith in you. Everybody vote in favor, or yeah. Have a good one.
Senator Rickett.
Move to vote.
There's been a motion to vote. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're again in voting procedures. Make sure to vote on the Zoom. With a vote count of 11 to 1 to 0, you've been confirmed by ENA.
Thank you so much.
All right, and next up we have Isabel Johnson for Associate Justice Seat 1. You have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Election Commission Committee. Thank you so much for being here this evening. My name is Isabel Johnson, and I am a sophomore majoring in political science on the pre-law track. I am from Lakeland, Florida, although right now I am speaking to you from Barcelona, Spain, where I am studying abroad. After college, I hope to go to law school and eventually become an attorney advocating for all communities. I am honored to be here today and tell you why my advocacy and leadership skills would allow me to serve the UCF student body in the Associate Justice position. This past year, I was a part of the Student Government Leadership Council and then the Judicial Leadership Council. This was a transformative experience, and I learned so much about the whole of student government and the intricacies of the judicial branch. I have also been a part of the mock trial and Leeds Scholars. These organizations have honed my leadership and advocacy skills. Additionally, I have continued to develop my passion for community service by taking part in 2 community service projects and being a part of the Student Government Nightathon Committee. As an Associate Justice, I would love to focus my initiatives on broadening our outreach. As the branch works to promote its services online, it would be impactful to promote services by making posters. Not all students have immediate access to technology, and they might not know where to look or follow when seeking to learn more about the judicial branch. The vision is to make a larger version of the Call the Council card that the Budget Committee made. Additionally, while in Spain, I have added another initiative that I would like to mention that isn't on my application because I came to this idea through my travels and the people that I have met. While being abroad, I've met various international students. They have shared with me that they feel underrepresented on campus and they do not have the same opportunities that most students have. This deeply disappointed me and inspired me to work with my international friends and the legislative branch to form an international students caucus. Advocating for a student body as amazing as Knight Nation would be a privilege. I'm confident that my experiences have prepared me well for this position, and I would be a positive addition to the council. Thank you for your time, and I yield the remainder of my time to questioning.
Thank you. We're now in 8 minutes of questioning. Senator Rickett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the candidate, all justices are required to attend a diversity training session. Who actually scheduled that diversity training session?
As for the diversity training, I am not completely sure. However, I know that we do go through an orientation before we are officially on the branch and able to act. And so I would hope that it would be part of that orientation.
Senator Banesh.
2 questions, if I may.
You may.
Okay. Hello, candidate. My first question is for you. What is one duty of a justice?
One duty of the Associate Justice is to conduct parking appeals. We offer that as a service to students. We are the 2nd level of appeals for the parking committee, and we are able to reduce, overturn, or ensure their decision of the parking committee.
Second question.
You may.
I'm curious about this international students caucus. Can you talk a little bit more about your plans for this? I'm sorry, this is really interesting to me.
Yes. So while being in Spain, like I said, I've met so many students that are international students, and they've talked to me about how they've shown up to these career fairs with their resumes in hand. However, many of the jobs that were offering applications there did not take any international students. They also talked about how it's really hard to find a community of international students on campus because although there are individual clubs for each international community, there's not an entire one where they can come together. And so I talked to the people that I'm here in Spain with, and they told me that they would love for a platform to be made for them to voice their concerns, build a community, and also maybe host special international career fairs that allows them to get involved in internships and jobs. So it's something that I'm very passionate about and very excited about. So thank you for your question.
Senator Lipner. Oh, Senator Lipner's question is, do you have any other involvements that could preclude you from prioritizing this position in the following year?
Yes, so I am a part of mock trial and lead scholars. However, being a part of JLC this year, I was able to see the exact time commitment that the justices endure, and I thought very heavily about my application and exactly how much time I would be allotting to the judicial branch. And I took my application very seriously and ensured that I would have plenty of time to give 100% of myself to this amazing branch and all of the services it provides.
Senator Reed.
Hi, thank you for your time. How would you plan to work effectively with the Chief Justice and your fellow justices?
Yes, so part of our requirements as a justice, according to the JRP, is that we remain professional and respectful. So, of course, I would try to foster that environment within the judicial branch. I would also work with them to get my initiatives started and talk to them about where best I can go and what committee I can best utilize to make my initiatives happen. And I'm really looking forward to working with all of the amazing justices pending confirmation.
Senator Rickett.
Debate.
There's been a motion to debate. Seeing no objection, we're now in 5 minutes of debate. Senator Metellus.
I'll be voting in favor of this candidate. I really do like her initiatives, and she presented herself very well and is clearly very, very knowledgeable about the position. And I also like the fact that she's a lead scholar. I participated in the Lead Scholars Program the past 2 years, and I can attest to how much of service and leadership skills you gain from that program, and I feel like she'll be able to use it very well here.
Senator Reed.
Oh my gosh, so sorry. So I'll be voting yes for this candidate. I can tell she's very, very passionate for this position, which I always love to see. Also, mock trial is one of my good friends is on mock trial, and so I know that's a very, very, extensive process, but also will gain great knowledge. My friend Juliana is on mock trial, if you know her. Also, Broadway Star of the Future, shout out. But overall, I really, really enjoyed all her platform and all her ideas, and I can't wait to see everything she comes up with this next year.
Senator Banesh.
Sorry, everybody, I'm driving, but I am actually not sure about this candidate. I really do love the International Students Caucus idea, though. So whether or not this candidate gets confirmed, please come speak with me because I am very fascinated in that. Yeah. However, I'm a little bit nervous because this candidate does a lot. And coming from somebody who is literally driving from work right now, like sometimes it can be a lot to manage. So I don't want it to be too much for this candidate, but I'm just going to hear out people's debates and kind of decide then. But thank you, and you're super cool.
Senator Gaudio.
Let's please be mindful of time. Senate was originally supposed to reconvene in 3 minutes. Move to vote.
There's been a motion to vote. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we're now on voting procedures. With a vote count of 12 to 0, you've been confirmed by ENA.
Thank you.
We'll now be seeing Colin Hoffner for Associate Justice seat number 6. You can sit right here, and then you'll have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
All right. Hi, ENA. My name is Colin Hoffner. First and foremost, I want to thank you for caucusing for me today, as I had prior class commitments during the regularly scheduled ENA meeting. I come to you all today as an appointee for Associate Justice seat number 6 for the Judicial Council. I am an aerospace engineering student with a minor in political science. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and decided to take a major leap outside of my comfort zone and come here to UCF. During my first year at UCF, I had the opportunity to join a couple of different organizations here on campus, including Knights Experimental Rocketry and AIAA, as well as the Student Government Leadership Council and eventually the Judicial Leadership Council. When I first decided to apply for SGLC last August, I did not have too many expectations. I had never been part of student government before and was just looking for an opportunity to get involved on campus and meet some new people. However, after going through the SGLC program, I realized I had a passion for supporting students in the surrounding community. This led me to the Judicial Branch and the Judicial Leadership Council that I believe would give me the best opportunity to do so. Through the JLC program, I was able to learn about all the student body statutes, constitution, judicial rules of procedure, and all other governing documents. Learning about these and seeing the different resources that the Judicial Branch offers to students, as well as having the opportunity to be mentored by different justices on the branch, truly made me fall in love with it and wanting to pursue a seat on the Judicial Council after the JLC program. Over the course of the program, I was able to participate in various outreach events as well as see the inner workings of the council, which really shaped my initiatives as I began applying for the Associate Justice position. Coming from a background of working in the service industry, as well as being a part of many different clubs in high school that were very focused on outreach and service, I really put an emphasis on those initiatives in my application, one of which is collaborating and developing a partnership with first-year experience. As many of you know, the executive branch has a long-running partnership with FYE as they present at most, if not all, summer orientations for freshmen and transfer students. I think that this is such a fantastic partnership to really reach out to new students who may be looking for a home on campus or discover the different resources that UCF and student government has to offer. I believe that the Judicial Branch can work to develop a partnership with FYE and present its resource to incoming students at orientation events. This would make sure students know that they're always at home here on campus. This is a partnership that I have thought out extensively and would hope to implement as soon as possible if I were to be confirmed. I have created a PowerPoint which is included in my application materials that I plan to present to the council and use as a way to showcase the Judicial Branch resources at orientation events. Moving forward, I hope to work with the Judicial Advertisement and Marketing Committee, JAM, in order to create a handout that could be included in orientation materials. One of my other initiatives, it was inspired by the Lounging with the Lawyers event, which was a pre-law workshop that had Florida attorneys from diverse practices give tips to current students. If I were to be confirmed, I would like to work with the Judicial Outreach Committee, JOC, in order to facilitate similar events at UCF satellite campuses, with the hope of collaborating with the executive and legislative branches on these outreach efforts. Finally, I have an initiative which looks to increase transparency and understanding of the judicial branch to the student body by working with the council to create semesterly reports. I have included an outline in my proposal which gives an overview of these semester reports would consist of and a possible schedule of when they would be put out. During SGLC and JLC, I was able to sit on the Judicial Branch's internal committees and learn what each of them does for the student body and the Judicial Branch, as well as discover which ones most interest me. If I were to be given the opportunity to serve as a justice, I would like to formally sit on the Internal Rules Committee, IRC, which directly works to update the judicial rules of procedure. As a student aspiring to go to law school, this opportunity would give me expand my experience with procedural documents. I'd also like to join the Judicial Outreach Committee, JOC, and the Judicial Advertisement and Marketing Committee, JAM, as they would allow me the greatest chance to achieve my initiatives. In the future, I hope to obtain my Bachelor's of Science in Aerospace Engineering, and then hopefully do the Accelerated Bachelor's to Master's program. After this, I hope to eventually go to law school and either work in policymaking or intellectual property law. If I were lucky enough to be given this opportunity, I hope to one day carry the experience I learned from the Associate Justice position into my future career. Once again, I would like to thank you for accommodating me and allowing me to speak to you today, and I yield the remaining of my time for questioning.
Thank you. And we are now in 8 minutes of questioning. Senator Rickett.
2 questions, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
You may.
First question, can you tell us what Title 12 is?
Yes, thank you for your question, Senator. Title 12 is student government transparency.
Mr. Chairman, follow up.
You may.
Okay, can a candidate tell us what Article 6 of the UCF Constitution is?
Yeah, Article 6 is the amending process for the Constitution.
Senator Reed.
Thank you for being here. How will you promote inter-branch collaboration while remaining confidential?
Yes, so I would look to promote interbranch collaboration through the various outreach events that I have in my proposals. I think it's really important to work with the other branches, especially on the satellite campus initiative, as I know we want to get student government out to all the campuses, and I think that's where I would try to keep that. But in terms of keeping everything confidential, I would definitely keep like our inner workings and our services like grade appeals, parking appeals, stuff like that, very confidential, but working on outreach events more with the other branches.
Senator Rickett, do you still have a question?
Move to go to debate.
There's been a motion to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, Senator Reed.
So I'll be voting yes. I'll be voting in favor of this candidate. I really enjoy the partnership with FYE idea. I was an orientation leader in the past year, and I think, trying to get more students involved with the SGLC program is the perfect place orientation is the perfect place to do it at. And so I really enjoy this idea. Also, just getting more updates and reports from the branch, whether that's, posted on social media, just making sure the entire student body is involved and understanding what the judicial branch does, I think is really important. I really enjoyed reading through this candidate's proposal. So I'll be voting yes, and I hope you all do the same.
Senator Lipner. Senator Lipner's piece of debate is that I really appreciate this candidate's thoughtful and impactful proposals, and I will be voting in favor. As a result, I urge you all to do the same. With that motion to vote, are there any objections to that motion? Seeing none, we're now in voting procedures. With a vote count of 13 to 0. We don't have 13 in the committee. Oh, you're good. Oh, you're good. With a vote count of 12 to 0, you've been confirmed by ENA. Senator Gaudio.
Motion to adjourn pending final roll call.
There's been a motion to adjourn pending final roll call. Seeing no objections, final roll call, Vice Chair Chow.
Perfect. Chair Escobar,
Present.
Senator Rodriguez, Senator Matthews,
Present.
Senator Rickett,
Present.
Senator Rojo Case,
Present.
Senator Benesh,
Present. Sorry.
all good. Senator Candeloro, Senator Trejo Hernandez,
Present.
Senator Gaudio,
Present.
Senator Metellus,
Present.
Senator Lipner,
Present.
Senator Reed,
Present.
Pro Temp Rep Capinos,
Present.
LJR Rep Sherman,
Present.
12-13 again.
I hereby adjourn this meeting at 7:09 p.m. Thank you all for being here.
Okay, and I hereby reconvene this meeting at 7:09 p.m. We can get through it all, guys. We got that. Internal committee reports, ENA committee, Chair Escobar.
One second. Good evening, Senate. This week in ENA, we saw 8 associate justice confirmation hearings, including 4 today and 4 yesterday. Also, Internal Bill 5702 was adopted in the committee and passed 10-0 to 1. Madeline Grady for judicial seat number 8 was confirmed 11-0 to 0. Bianca Nunez for judicial seat number 4 was confirmed 10-0 to 0. Noemi Tilke for a judicial seat 5 confirmed 11-0 to 0. Isabel Johnson for judicial seat 1 was confirmed 12-0 to 0. Giovanni's Leonard for judicial seat number 3 confirmed 11-0 to 0. Noak David for judicial seat number 2 confirmed 11-1 to 0. Sammy Toscano for judicial seat number 7 confirmed 11-0 to 0. And Colin Hoffner for judicial seat number 6 confirmed 12-0 to 0.
Any questions for the ENA chair? Seeing none, GAP committee, Chair Varela, given by Vice Chair Candeloro.
Hi everyone, Chair Varela says, hello Senate, sorry I could not be there. Right now I should be finishing my LSAT, so hopefully I did well. Today in GAP we went over plans for the summer as well as interesting news in Florida politics. Linked below is the GAP Summer Roadmap, which details topics in Florida civics that the GAP committee will be learning / discussing to prepare for Day at the Capitol. If any of the topics interest you, feel free to attend the committee that day as a guest or even join the committee as a full member.
Any questions for the GAP Vice Chair? Seeing none, LJR committee, Chair Gaudio.
Good evening, everybody. This week, LJR had an uncharacteristically long meeting as we saw 17 absences, 3 blanket excuses, and postponed reviewing the penal actions submitted with the pro tempor's now 3 notifications of noncompliance. Please make sure that you read the message I sent in the Senate Teams channel regarding the absence form. There's been a bit of confusion. I believe that message should clear it up. I originally was going to read off all the absences. I'm not going to do that. However, do note if yours was postponed, I'll be reaching out to you. For the most part, it's probably because the committee wanted to see documentation. In addition, I would like to draw attention to the amazing work done by our Attorney General in updating the statute so fast. I first reached out around last week to exec. He only got confirmed on Monday, and they were literally pushed to the website during LJR's meeting last week. What a guy.
Any questions for the LJR chair? Seeing none, SBA committee, Chair Teodorescu.
Hi, Senate. This week in SBA, we discussed initiative ideas for this session. We talked about who to reach out to in regard to specific initiatives, as well as timelines. I also met with Safety and Transportation Coordinator Lopez to go over some overlapping initiatives in our proposal and those that were brought up in committee.
Any questions for the SBA chair? Seeing none, confirmations. Is there a motion for speeches, questioning, and debate? Chair Hernandez.
585.
There's been a motion for a 585. Any objections? Seeing none, first we have Madeline Grady for Judicial Seat 8. You have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Okay, hi, good evening. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'd first like to just thank you all for being here tonight. The opportunity to be appointed to this position means the absolute most to me, and I'm sure the rest of my appointees as well. So I'm very grateful to be here tonight, and I thank you all for your presence as well. My name is Madeline Grady. I'm a biomedical sciences student here on a pre-med track. I'm a rising senior at UCF. I'm also a member of the Burnett Honors College. I work at the Student Academic and Resource Center as a supplemental instructor with a focus in chemistry. And here, outside of my academics, I am a hospital volunteer at a level 1 trauma hospital where I volunteer on the perinatal specialty unit floor. The past 2 years that I've been affiliated with student government have been some of the most fulfilling and rewarding of my college career thus far, and that is why I'm incredibly grateful to be heard for a potential second term. I spent my first year affiliated with student government as an SGLCer, and over the previous year have served as an associate justice as well as the chair for our precedent committee. I firmly believe that my previous experience as a justice will allow me to really hit the ground running coming into another term. The experience and the lessons that I've learned over the previous year, I think, will allow me to be a great asset and to accomplish my initiatives and my goals with speed and clarity, and also allow me to serve as a mentor to some of our new justices coming in, as we will potentially have a lot of first-time justices in this term. A lot of my initiatives, you'll notice, focus kind of on our internal mechanisms. I'm of the strong belief that it is extremely important for our branch to be able to have our neat and tidy internal processes, just as clean as possible to make sure that we can be of best aid to the student body as possible. So, as I mentioned, I was the chair of our precedent committee, which is one of our two internal facing committees. So I do tend to have an eye for detail, and I do like to kind of get down into the minutia of things and just make sure that everything is running smoothly within the branch. Again, I'm very excited for the potential to serve for another term and to get to work with so many amazing, incredible, driven, and intelligent people, both within my branch and outside of our branch as well, with the rest of branches of student government and the student body as a whole. So again, I thank you all for being here tonight. I'm very excited for this potential opportunity. I'm looking forward to your questions, and I yield the rest of my time for questioning. Thank you.
Okay, we're now in a period of questioning. Are there any questions for the candidate? ELA Reed.
Thank you for your time. I have a question regarding your committee transition binder idea. I was wondering what your binders are looking like currently and what makes your idea different than what you already have.
Absolutely, thank you. So this is one of the initiatives that I'm most excited about kind of putting into action. As of right now, from what I can tell you from my experience as a precedent chair, what I kind of ended up doing with my committee towards the end of the year is kind of closer to what my vision for what committee transition binder should look like in general. However, I would like to speak with current and past chairs from the different committees, just because each committee does have a separate role, so there may be different materials that need to be kind of outlined or included in different transition binders depending on what the committee is. But a general overview for what I would like to kind of have laid out is ensure that each committee transition binder has an overview of what that committee accomplished in a previous year. So just kind of an overview of what initiatives were accomplished, what initiatives maybe were started but weren't finished. A general, all the kind of templates that a committee chair might need, their agenda templates, but also any other kind of processes that they might have that are essential for a new chair coming in to be able to know how to utilize. Also, I would recommend having recommendations. I think this is something that most chairs already include because we do have some general chair training, but recommendations for future initiatives for that new chair to come in and kind of give them, some ideas and some inspiration for what they should do with the committee kind of in the future year. So general, I would like to work with the other committee chairs, present and future, to kind of figure out what in specific each branch needs or committee needs.
All right, are there any other questions for the candidate? Seeing no other hands, we are now in a period of debate. You guys have 5 minutes. Anybody wishing to debate? Chair Gaudio.
Move to vote.
There's been a motion to vote. Any objections? Seeing none, we are now in a period of voting. With a vote count of 34-1-0, Madeline Grady has been confirmed for judicial seat number 8.
Thank you.
Next, we have Bianca Nunez for judicial seat number 4. You have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Hi guys, whoever was just in ENA, please pretend like you didn't just hear the speech. But anyways, good evening, Senate. I would first like to start out by thanking everyone here for providing me with the opportunity to speak this evening. For those of you who don't know me, hi, my name is Bianca Nunez, and I'm a junior majoring in political science with a minor in legal studies on the pre-law track. And today I'm here before you as the seat 4 Associate Justice confirmate. A little bit about me and my background. I was born and raised in South Florida and finding a strong sense of community there due to the large Latin presence, as well as it being all I knew. Transitioning to the University of Central Florida, I wanted to find a similar sense of community, in which I was able to during my time in SGLC and subsequent JLC programs. Through this, I gained a further love for serving my community, whether it was handing out flyers during lounging with the lawyer or giving out candy during candy with the council. It was one of the most rewarding experiences of my college career and helped me find a sense of purpose on this big campus. Since joining the branch, the heart of my mission has remained the same: to serve the students with integrity and dedication. But everything else around me has evolved. When I first stepped into this role, I came in eager to learn and determined to understand the organization I had just become a part of. I wanted to ensure I could represent and serve the student body in the most meaningful way possible. Throughout this commitment, I fully immersed myself. I was a member of every committee, I seized every opportunity, and I slowly began to shape my vision into action. One of my first goals was to make our judicial services more accessible and transparent. That began with social media. Not just one post, but a full campaign that broke down each of our services in a clear and digestible way. We took it a step further and created videos to walk students through our services, making sure that no student would be left behind simply because they didn't know where to begin. And this was all before the JAM was even a committee. From working in IRC to help write the language that created the committee to being appointed as its chair, it was a full circle moment. One that reminded me just how far I'd come, but also how much more there was still to do. When looking towards the future, there are many ways in which I intend to further leave my mark on the judicial branch. One of my main initiatives I am passionate about is advocating for whistleblower protections in the election violation process. Through my direct experience in the election violation appeals process, I began to notice a troubling pattern. While requiring a student's identity when filing a case may prevent false or malicious claims, it also deters students with legitimate concerns from coming forward out of fear of retaliation or being personally targeted. This is not just a procedural issue, but it's also a barrier to justice. While the judicial branch cannot directly change the policies of the Election Commission, we can and should play a role in advocating for students' rights. As a judicial member, we are bound by impartiality, but that does not mean we should remain silent on procedural flaws that impact fairness. Our duty is to uphold students' rights, and raising these concerns through appropriate channels is part of that responsibility. Again, I am incredibly honored for this position, to be considered for this position, and thankful to all the senators present here tonight.
Do you yield your time?
I yield my time for questioning.
We are now in a period of questioning. Are there any questions for the candidate? Vice Chair Chow?
Okay, so if I may.
You may.
Okay, perfect. So in terms of your parking and transportation services initiative, I just had a question, at least for like the signage, and then not only that, but just expanding the maps. By any chance, do you also plan on doing the same initiative for satellite campuses?
So yes, so I wanted to start with main campus just because a lot of our requests do come from main campus. Essentially the initiative is just to kind of have like a greater file of kind of just what that signage looks like, what the parking lots look like, instead of us having to kind of do that research, just having that resource already there for us so that it's easier to look at when we are having those appeals. But yes, it's definitely something I would want to include as it's important, kind of leading into my other initiative of being able to be there for those satellite campuses.
Okay, perfect. And then for my second question, in terms of the whistleblower protection initiative, I think it's truly, truly really interesting. But I'm curious, by any chance, do you have like any sort of outline or structure on how that will operate?
I didn't want to do too much of I didn't want to come in with a plan or like kind of that legislative side of it, especially because I want to remember like my position is to remain impartial. I just wanted to raise the concern. So I did want to start by meeting with the pro temp as well as the probably Brody, just because I feel as though they would have a good way for me to go about this while also remembering my role as a justice.
Senator Rickett?
Move to debate.
Motion to move to debate. Any objections? Seeing none, we are now in a period of debate. You guys have 5 minutes. Reed and then Rickett.
So I'll be voting yes for this candidate. I really enjoy all her ideas. Also specifically, not just the whistleblower, which I talked about in ENA, which I really like, but I really enjoyed her emphasis for outreach for all our campuses. I think that's really, really valuable because not all our campuses get the same amount of, attention as others, which I think is very vital to make sure we're including everyone. I also really enjoy a lot of her ideas in terms of tabling, like Bev's with the bench, I think is so cute, and pizza with the panel. I would be more than happy to attend those. So I will be voting in favor, and I encourage you all to do the same. Rickett,
May I retain?
you may.
I believe, again, this candidate is excellent, has a lot of experience and has working knowledge of the Constitution, of statutes, and all the other requirements for the justice move.
We are now in voting procedures. The vote count of 37 to 0, Bianca Nunez has been confirmed for judicial seat number 4. Next, we have Noemi Tilke for judicial seat number 5. You have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Hello, can everyone hear me all right?
Yes.
Perfect. I do apologize in advance. I'm in a different country and my Wi-Fi has not been doing so well, so please let me know if anything goes wrong. But good evening, Senate. I would like to thank everyone for being here and for giving me the opportunity to appear before you this evening. My name is Noemi Tilke and I am from St. Petersburg, Florida. I am a sophomore majoring in international and global studies with a minor in intercultural communications, working towards one day becoming an international lawyer. As the oldest daughter of a Hungarian immigrant family, I've always held a deep appreciation for resilience, integrity, and the power of justice. My upbringing has shaped me to be a leader, advocate, and has helped me serve my community. It has installed in me the values of perseverance and fairness with relentless drive to succeed, values that I feel are essential to serving in this role. During my time at UCF, I've had the opportunity to be a part of Women in Business, as well as the Central Florida Rowing Team, the Student Government Leadership Council, and in my spring semester, the Judicial Leadership Council. My involvement with student government at UCF started at SGLC, and after completing the program and learning more about the different branches and their functions, my passion to remain in student government only grew, which is why I decided to continue my journey through the Judicial Leadership Council. During my time in JLC, I felt deeply connected with the justices and the importance of their roles. Learning about their day-to-day lives of helping students who are going through student conduct and academic integrity hearings, appealing parking citations, and enacting judicial review truly made me fall in love with the services they provide and how they help students rise to the top. Looking ahead, the judicial branch is already as polished from the outside and inside, but I'm eager to contribute by including my aspirations. My proposal spans from enhancing the judicial website with a law resource section to creating a career-focused podcast through the Judicial Advertising and Marketing Committee, and to advocating for more campus-wide pre-law connections with the Judicial Outreach Committee. Beyond these initiatives, I will remain committed and driven to fostering communication, collaboration, and organization within the judicial branch. I will also be devoted to upholding the integrity of UCF's judicial system, committed to fostering trust within our community, and dedicated to being a voice of reason and fairness. I'm incredibly honored to be here today, and I thank all the senators for being present. And with that, I yield my remaining time for questioning.
Okay, we are now in a period of questioning. Senator Rickett.
Madam Speaker, 2 questions, if I may. First question is, who is in charge of the judicial branch?
Thank you so much for your question, Senator Rickett. The Chief Justice.
Okay, my second question is, which title is the judicial branch?
Thank you. The judicial branch is Title V.
Vice Chair Chow.
Hi, so I did see on your platform that you have the judicial Instagram podcast, like you mentioned in your speech. I was just curious, by any chance, do you have any concerns surrounding professionalism? And if you do, in terms of the podcast and like possibly some issues like regarding like impartiality. Do you plan on having like a mini media training for whoever does show up on that podcast?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for your question. Through the process of the podcast, I have thought of going through just like a mini training section of what we are allowed to say and what we shouldn't be saying on this podcast if the proposal were to go through. So yes, I would ultimately have a little mini training session for each person who would be presented on the podcast, or each justice ultimately.
Vice Chair Chow, did you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I have a follow-up. Thank you so much. In terms of this podcast, are there any committees or departments that you're looking to work with to make this possible?
Yes, thank you so much for your question. I have thought about working with the Judicial Outreach Committee, and then we also have a new one, the Judicial Advertising and Marketing Committee, which I think would be a very resourceful committee to work with. And then I've also thought of working alongside with comms, who could help me work with the Instagram, as if the podcast could be posted maybe on the UCF SG Instagram account. And so I think the comms director would be very useful with that. But ultimately, I've thought of using and asking for help if this proposal were to go through the Judicial Advertising and Marketing Committee.
Are there any other questions for this candidate? Senator Rickett?
Move to debate.
A motion to move to debate. Any objections? Seeing none, we are now in a period of debate. You guys have 5 minutes. Anybody wishing to speak in debate? Reed.
May I retain?
You may.
So I will be voting yes for this candidate. I really like a lot of these ideas. I think they're very unique. I saw that Broadway Star of the Future. I see you. I really do enjoy that fraternity social, the law fraternity social. I think that's really interesting and a really good resource too, to try and get that, the judicial branch out there as well. And so because of these reasons, because of this proposal, I'll be voting yes, and I encourage you all to do the same. Move to vote.
We are now in voting procedures. The vote count of 38 to 0 to 0, Noemi Tilke has been confirmed for judicial seat number 5.
Thank you so much.
Next, we have Isabel Johnson for judicial seat number 1. You have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Hi, can you guys hear me? Okay. Good evening, Senators. My name is Isabel Johnson, and I am a sophomore majoring in political science on the pre-law track. I am from Lakeland, Florida, although right now I am speaking to you from Barcelona, Spain, where I am studying abroad. After college, I hope to go to law school and eventually become an attorney advocating for all communities. I'm honored to be here today and tell you why my advocacy and leadership skills will allow me to serve the UCF body in the Associate Justice position. This past year, I had the opportunity to be a member of the Student Government Leadership Council, which allowed me to get to know all of the student government branches. I loved my SGLC experience. Connecting with fellow students who were passionate about making a change immediately acclimated me to my community at UCF. I was then selected to be a part of the Judicial Leadership Council, which gave me experiences that have equipped me with lessons that would prepare me to become a justice. Attending various committee meetings and watching the justices work has been a humbling experience, to say the least. The branch has such a profound impact on the student body, and its powers enable the branch to advocate for all students. By providing students services such as parking appeals, grade appeals, and impartial advising, the judicial branch ensures the rights of all students. The judicial branch aims to make every UCF Knight feel supported, and being a part of the judicial branch would be an honor and a large responsibility that I feel I have prepared for. During my time at the University of Central Florida, I've been honing the skills that will make me a great fit for the Associate Justice position. I'm a competing member on the University Central Florida mock trial team. During my time in this organization, I have learned skills in advocacy, collaboration, and public speaking. I have also learned how to understand and analyze legal documents and the Florida rules of evidence. As I observed in my time and during JLC, the skills I have learned in mock trial are crucial to understanding our governing documents and being an Associate Justice. Additionally, I have been an active member of the Lead Scholars Academy at UCF. Within my time in Lead Scholars, I have completed 2 community service projects while taking a course on how to better myself as a servant leader. Community service has something I have been passionate about since high school. I'm always eager to find a way to give back to my community. By using my advocacy and leadership skills, I believe that I could foster this passion by serving the student body on the judicial branch. As an Associate Justice, I would love to focus my initiatives on broadening our outreach. As the branch works to promote its services online, it would also be impactful to promote services by making posters. Not all students have immediate access to technology, and they might not know where to look or follow when learning to seek more information about the judicial branch. The vision is to make larger version of the Call the Council cards the Budget Committee made this year. I would utilize the Judicial Advertising and Marketing Committee to make posters that would be placed throughout the school on billboards in all of the colleges, the student union, and the residence halls. This way, students in all colleges would have access to these posters. This initiative would expand the reach of the Judicial Council and give students an easier way to become quickly educated on the judicial branch. Additionally, while in Spain, I have added another initiative that I would like to mention that isn't on my application because I came to this idea through my travels and the people I have met. While being abroad, I have met various international students. They have shared with me that they feel underrepresented on campus and do not have the same opportunities that most students have. This deeply disappointed me and inspired me to work with my international friends and the legislative branch to form an International Students Caucus. Advocating for the student body, as amazing as Knight Nation, would be a privilege. I'm confident that my experiences have prepared me well for this position, and I would be a positive addition to the council. I'm so grateful to you all for listening to me, and the student government for giving me a home away from home my freshman year. Thank you for your time, and I yield the remainder of my time to questioning.
We're not in a period of questioning. Are there any questions for the candidate? Chair Gaudio?
Move to debate.
There's been a motion to move to debate. Any objections? Seeing none, we are now in a period of debate. You guys have 5 minutes. Anybody wishing to speak in debate? Chair Escobar.
I will be voting in favor of this candidate. I think the initiatives are very laid out and thorough, as well as they have a lot of emphasis on accessibility when it comes to students who don't have access to digital media. And also, I really do like the idea of creating an International Students Caucus, because especially during times where there's uncertainty surrounding international students, and there's just a lot of barriers that international students face. And with that, Mayor Rattani,
You may.
move to vote.
We're now in voting procedures. With a vote count of 36 to 0 to 1, Isabel Johnson has been confirmed for judicial seat number 1. Next, we have Jovanice Leonard for judicial seat number 3. You have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Hello. Just wanted to make sure you guys could hear me. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here, and I'm so happy to be here before you all. My name is Jovanice Leonard, but many friends here know me as Jovi. I was born and raised here in Orlando, Florida, and I'm an upcoming junior studying economics and legal studies here at UCF. As a pre-law student, I plan to attend law school after graduating and come back to Florida to serve and advocate for my community as a practicing attorney. I come here before you today to explain why I feel I'm qualified to be appointed for Associate Justice seat number 3 in the Judicial Council. First, my involvement with our student government judicial branch through the SGLC and JLC programs have familiarized me with student government and judicial branch proceedings. I also had the honor of serving as the Service and Advocacy Vice Chair for the SGLC program. In this position, I was not only able to build connections with current student government agents and understand more about student government and its role, but I was also able to become more familiar with committee proceedings as well. Beyond just the scope of on-campus involvement, I also have professional experience working as a paralegal intern for the U.S. Trustee Program's Orlando division this past spring semester. In this role, I was able to develop many skills pertaining to interpreting and understanding legal texts, writing legal memoranda and motions myself, and training my own judgment and my ability to remain impartial within my role. As a part of Judicial Council, I plan to leverage my past skills and experiences in these past years and months to help fulfill our goal of protecting students' rights. Many of my initiatives pertain to student outreach, so I plan to join the Judicial Outreach Committee so that I can help execute my initiatives correctly. One of my main initiatives is focused on educating students on how to safeguard their academic integrity in the age of AI. This initiative can be done through a Judicial Outreach Committee hosted tabling event. On top of this, I also plan to join either the Black Caucus or the Transfer Caucus and be a voice for the judicial branch within the caucuses, furthering my relationships with other student government agents and promoting inter-branch collaboration. I came into SGLC as a transfer student, and it was the first UCF entity to ever make me feel included in an organization while having the privilege to serve and advocate for our student body. So if I could, I would be in my position and work to the best of my ability to make everyone proud and enable our students. Thank you guys so much for having me here, and I yield the rest of my time for questioning.
Okay, we are now in a period of questioning. Does anybody have any questions for the candidate? ELA Reed.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. I was wondering if you could just go a little bit more in depth on your AI usage initiative and kind of what that would look like.
Yes, of course. So I came up with this initiative as a pre-law student. I write a lot for my assignments, and upon doing some research and based on my own concerns, I saw an article about a UCF student that was accused of doing AI, and he didn't. And the only way that he was able to prove his innocence was through his document history on Google Docs. And I thought that was so interesting. And in my head, I was like, if students are accused and they have no way to protect themselves, then that is something that the judicial branch could address. And so I wanted to make it in a way so that there are brochures or pamphlets with information just kind of outlining our golden rule concerning AI, also kind of directing students to look at their syllabus, ask their professors if they can use AI. Of course, all of the information in these pamphlets will be approved by the IRC committee and by our Chief Justice to make sure that it is all impartial. And furthermore, I also want to use it as a way to promote our branch's services as impartial advisors for academic misconduct, because that is part of what we do. And so I thought it would be a great way to help our student body.
Okay, are there any other questions for the candidate? Senator Metellus.
To debate.
There's been a motion to move to debate. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now in a period of debate. You guys have 5 minutes. Vice Chair Chow and then Senator Metellus.
So just seeing this candidate, I am truly voting in favor. I was genuinely impressed seeing them in the E&A committee and while I was taking notes about the proposal, seeing it specifically about the AI usage initiative. It's a modern initiative. It's just trying to counteract modern issues that we're dealing with, which then truly reflects back on this candidate's character. Not only that, but seeing how they were able to answer and all of our questions truly impressed me. I highly encourage everyone else in Senate to do the same.
May I retain?
You may.
I'll be voting in favor of this candidate. I really do like the AI initiative. I think that's something that is very useful, especially in this day and age when AI is so popular and there are a lot of tools that we can use as students involving AI. So I feel like it's important for us to start thinking about that when it comes to, student rights and how the judicial branch can help us out with that. And I think the fact that this candidate thought of something like that that is so important is very, very interesting and shows that she would do very well in this position. So I'll be voting in favor and encourage you guys to do the same. With that, move to vote.
We are non-voting procedures. With a vote count of 37 to 0 to 1, Jovanice Leonard has been confirmed for judicial seat number 3.
Thank you so much.
Next, we have Noak David for judicial seat number 2. You have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Good evening, Senate. Thank you for meeting me here today at this appointed time. My name is Noak David. I'm a legal studies major projected to graduate spring 2026, and I'm honored to be here today hoping to be confirmed as an Associate Justice. I believe that my experiences and character have prepared me for this position. All my life, I've been taught what it means to serve and how to uphold the standards of good moral character. I've learned to apply this in all different facets of life and see the purpose in advocating for my community. Just a little over 2 months ago, I stood before Senate detailing my past accomplishments and extracurriculars before attending UCF. I described how I learned how to read and comprehend the complexities of government documents through being an intern at my local courthouse. Through managing a credit union, I learned how to collaborate in a small team similar in size to Judicial Council and how to market our services. Through being a tutor, I applied the skills of advising students through difficult concepts as an associate justice would for a great appeal. I metaphorically describe my time as a gardener in correlation to how I want to grow the judicial branch as I grow my own plants at home. Even since I was confirmed as an associate justice, I've continued to grow. I've officially completed my freshman year at UCF, and it has allowed me to discover opportunities, meet new people that became good friends, and truly develop a sense of community. At the beginning, I had my doubts that I would ever be in a leadership position, let alone an associate justice, but I found purpose for me here in student government. I've only been an associate justice for less than 2 months, but this short period of time has educated me on the true mission of the judicial branch. So far, I've been a part of 5 general counsels, several parking appeals, and a judicial review hearing. I've experienced the deliberations that bring about landmark decisions. To my conclusion, the judicial branch is able to uphold the rights of UCF's diverse student body so well due to their strong unity and utmost dedication, core values that I have learned to apply in my daily life. Evidence of this dedication is seen in my growing initiatives. I discussed in my last speech my idea of Visitation Week. With the help of my fellow associate justices, we believe that we can make this idea come to life so that students can come attend committee meetings, appeals, and see the judicial branch in action to gain their interest in student government and to understand our services. I also plan to work with the Judicial Advertising and Marketing Committees to make students more aware of parking rules. Overall, I've developed a profound love for being an associate justice, and I'm excited to work with the Judicial Council again to continue the good work of upholding student rights through dedicated service. I look forward to being your fellow student government associate. Thank you, and I yield the remaining of my time to questioning.
We are now in a period of questioning. Senator Rickett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the candidate, can you tell us what Title 11 is?
Yes, Title 11 is the Code of Ethics.
Vice Chair Chow.
So I really thought that your mediation proposal was interesting, and once again, I was really intrigued hearing about it in the committee. So I just had a question. So in terms of this example scenario that you gave in your proposal, let's say that both parties are unable to come to an agreement or mediation and terms of whatever scenario that they go through. How would the Judicial Council move forward, and how would both parties move forward?
Yeah, so I think the example I gave was between 2 roommates. And so they would go to the RA, and obviously they'd be dissatisfied with the decision that the RA made. So if this was around the time wherever we had the event, The way I would want to market it would be towards things of that nature, like give examples in our marketing. Like, hey, if you're having a roommate dispute, if there's something that's bothering you between somebody else on campus that you would like to bring to the Judicial Council, we're here as mediators. And obviously, since we're impartial, that's why I chose mediation rather a different form of negotiation. That way, so that when they come to the Judicial Council, it would be like they both present their sides of the story. And then we just guide them to a decision that both parties agree to.
Senator Rickett,
Move to debate.
there's been a motion to move to
I
debate.
object.
Okay, do you withdraw?
Sure, yes.
Okay, Senator Chow?
Yeah, so sorry. I think I just misworded the question, so this is just follow-up. So in case, let's say both parties do like come in terms like with the mediation and like, let's say that mediation is ineffective and both parties do need to come again to the judicial branch to once again discuss like another mediation. If there's a situation where the judicial council finds, the scenario like mediatable, how would you guys perform?
Okay, thank you for rewording your question. Sorry, I didn't understand the first time. So if it was something, what I would want to be clear in our mediation, because this is just a rule of general mediation and like general legal practice, though we're not any legal branch, but a general practice of mediation is that it's non-binding. So at the end of the day, it's up to the parties to make the decisions for themselves. So our only job as judicial branch is to help you get to your own decision. So if we are unable to do that because of for whatever reason, one party is still dissatisfied, then it is up to them to come to it's up to them to come to terms to settlement on their own. So
Senator Lipner? Okay, Senator Rickett.
Move to debate.
There's been a motion to move to debate. Any objections? Seeing none, we are now in a period of debate. You guys have 5 minutes. Anybody wishing to speak in debate? Chair Gaudio.
So I love that mediation initiative. I love this guy, despite how short he was in the council last time. It was very tail end of last session. He had to go through a judicial review. He's definitely seen what needs to be done. Again, I love the mediation idea. If you need any statutory changes, I know a guy. I urge you all to vote in favor.
Senator Lipner? Okay, so he put his debate in here. For example, me, do you want to read it?
Okay, this debate from Senator Lipner. Overall, I am underwhelmed with this candidate's proposal, especially considering the fact that he has formerly held a judicial seat. While his initiatives look good on paper, I'm concerned by the lack of depth behind things like classroom advertisement. Looking next at the parking do's and don'ts initiative, my concern continues. UCF Parking Services already have a list of reasons that would not be accepted on their parking appeal page. One of those listed reasons is ignorance of the regulations. These resources are already available to students, and the Judicial Council isn't even the first appeal process students go through, so I am ultimately confused why this individual felt this would be impactful. Finally, I am especially concerned by the mediation initiative, as UCF has formally offered free and professional mediation services funded by SG. I'm concerned that, if continued, this initiative would dull the value and power of mediation by putting that power into the hands of students. All this concern leads me to respectfully vote against this candidate, and I urge you all to do the same. Thank you.
ELA Reed.
So I'll be voting in favor of this candidate because even though there are parking do's and don'ts on websites, people still violate them. And I believe that it's important to educate people again and again and again so that these issues don't continue to occur. And I think this is a phenomenal idea because even though there are, those resources out there, we can still highlight them and emphasize them and ensure that people understand and know that they are there. Furthermore, I also do like the mediation idea because I think it is critical that people know that these resources are out there. And whether this candidate chooses to have this idea and then also include the mediation tactics that are out there, I think would be great. And I think this is important because there are a lot of petty, roommate drama or other things that happen that could easily be prevented or stop with a third party there. So I really enjoyed this candidate's ideas, and I'll be voting in favor of them. And I really hope you all do the same. Thank you.
Senator Metellus,
May I retain?
you may.
I would like to second everything that the previous senator stated before me. I personally believe that, especially when it comes to things like parking situations and tickets and things that students can get in trouble for, having as much information out there for students as possible is always a good thing, especially because so many people always say they don't know, they wish they knew, they wish somebody told them. So like having that as an initiative, to me at least, is a very good idea to have more outreach and to be able to inform students more. And I think having that as something that this candidate wants to do makes them a good candidate for this position. And I will be voting in favor and encourage you guys to all do the same. That moves to.
We're on voting procedures. With a vote count of 35 to 3-0, Noak David has been confirmed for judicial seat number 2.
Thank you so much.
Next, we have Sammy Toscano for judicial seat number 7. You have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, great. Good evening, all. First and foremost, thank you for having me today and allowing me time to speak. My name is Samantha Rose Toscano, though friends and family call me Sammy. I'm a sophomore from Boca Raton, Florida, majoring in business economics with a minor in legal studies, hoping to one day attend law school. It is an honor to appear before you all as I seek your confirmation for Associate Justice seat number 7 within the judicial branch. I'm excited for the opportunity to serve and contribute to our ever-evolving student body. I am drawn to the judicial branch because of my passion for advocacy. Though I began at UCF in spring of 2025, this past semester I had the privilege of participating in the Judicial Leadership Council, working alongside and learning from the judicial team. I saw firsthand how the branch engages with students as individuals. Whether reviewing parking appeals or providing an impartial advising service, justices take time to consider circumstances holistically. The branch values empathy, and that is a philosophy that I strongly align with. As a first-generation college student who started at UCF after many of my freshman peers, I know what it's like to navigate unfamiliar systems while trying to find your place. That's why I value the judicial branch's mission, offering guidance to students in vulnerable situations. I've seen how meaningful that support is, and I'm eager to contribute to it. My past experiences have prepared me well for this role. As the event manager at my local ice skating rink, I've handled complex operations, worked with diverse teams, and created a system of contractual booking agreements, highlighting my attention to detail and commitment to accurate record keeping. As the editor of my high school yearbook, I learned to represent many perspectives rather than uplifting my own voice. Both roles have strengthened my ability to approach decisions objectively, skills I bring as an associate justice. If confirmed, I plan to support the branch through initiatives like a searchable case indexing system to help justices reference precedent more easily. I would collaborate with the internal assistant chief justice and serve on the precedent committee to maintain it. I also aim to increase outreach efforts through newsletters, office hours, and partnerships with first-year experience and other branches, ensuring students know what support is available. These efforts would strengthen transparency, accessibility, and trust. Before I close, I want to briefly address what was discussed during ENA regarding the newsletter initiative and Article 4 of the UCF Student Body Constitution. I believe the presence of alternate opinions is what makes student government so engaging. Differing opinions allow for growth, and challenging my assumptions is something I am very excited to continue working on pending confirmation. That said, I want to clarify that the newsletter is one of several ideas aimed at increasing student engagement. I have no intention of acting outside of constitutional bounds. My plan is to collaborate directly with the Division of Communications in the executive branch to ensure full alignment with Article 4. Internally, the judicial branch also has a judicial advertisement and marketing committee already in place, and I'd be excited to contribute within that framework as well. My focus is on strengthening communication through appropriate collaborative channels, never overstepping them. With that, thank you again for being here today and allowing me to speak, and I yield the remainder of my time for questioning.
We are now in a period of questioning. Are there any questions for this candidate? Seeing none, we are now in a period of debate. Anybody wishing to speak in debate for this candidate? Chair Badio?
Move to vote.
There's been a motion to move to vote. Any objections? Seeing none, we are now in voting procedures. With a vote count of 36-0 Sammy Toscano has been confirmed for judicial seat number 7. And now we have Colin Hoffner for judicial seat number 6. You have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
Is this on? Okay. Sorry. Hi, Senate. My name is Colin Hoffner. I'm an incoming sophomore from Columbus, Ohio. First and foremost, I want to thank you for having me and allowing me to speak to you today. I come to you all today as an appointee for Associate Justice seat number 6 for the Judicial Council. I am an aerospace engineering student with a minor in political science. In the future, I hope to obtain my Bachelor's of Aerospace Engineering and then hopefully complete the Accelerated Bachelor's to Master's program. After this, I hope to eventually go to law school and work in either policymaking or intellectual property law. During my first year at UCF, I had the opportunity to join a couple of different organizations here on campus, including Knights Experimental Rocketry, AIAA, as well as the Student Government Leadership Council, and eventually the Judicial Leadership Council. When I first decided to apply for SGLC last August, I did not have too many expectations as I had never been a part of student government before and was just looking for an opportunity to get involved on campus and meet some new people. After SGLC, I had the opportunity to participate in the JLC program, which taught me all about the student body statutes, student body constitution, judicial rules of procedure, and all other governing documents. Learning about these, seeing the different resources that the judicial branch offers to students, as well as having the opportunity to be mentored by different justices on the branch truly made me fall in love with it and want to pursue a seat on the council after the program. Over the course of the program, I was able to participate in various outreach events as well as see the inner workings of the council, which really shaped my initiatives as I began applying for the Associate Justice position. One of which is collaborating and developing a partnership with First Year Experience. I believe that the judicial branch can work to develop a partnership with FYE and present its resources to incoming students at as many orientation events as possible. This would make sure students know that they always have a helping hand here at student government through the judicial branch whenever they need it. This is a partnership that I have thought about extensively and would hope to implement as soon as possible if I were to be confirmed. Moving forward, I hope to work with the council to finalize a presentation and other marketing materials. One of my other initiatives was inspired by the Lounging with the Lawyers event, which was a pre-law workshop that had Florida attorneys from diverse practices give tips to current students. If I were to be confirmed, I would like to work with the Judicial Outreach Committee in order to plan and facilitate similar events at UCF satellite campuses, with the hope of collaborating with the executive and legislative branches on these efforts. Finally, I have an initiative which looks to increase transparency and understanding of the judicial branch to the student body by working with the council to create semesterly reports as shown in my application materials. If I were lucky enough to be given this opportunity, I hope to one day carry the experience I learned from the Associate Justice position into my future career. Once again, I would like to thank you for allowing me to speak today, and I yield the remaining of my time for questioning.
Okay, we are now in a period of questioning. Are there any questions for this candidate? Seeing no hands, we are now in a period of debate. Oh, Rickett,
Move to vote.
there's been a motion to move to vote. Any objections? Seeing none, we are now in voting procedures. With a vote count of 37 to 1 to 0, Colin Hoffner has been confirmed for judicial seat number 6.
Thank you.
Okay, great job, guys. We have like 2 more weeks of confirmations, and then we'll be done. Internal legislation, notice of legislation on first reading, resolutions, resolution 5701 remanded to LJR. Notice of legislation on third reading, none. Notice of legislation on second reading. We'll just carry on the 585. And first we have internal bill 5701, 2025 and 2026 funding limitations for registered student organizations. Chair Rose, Delight Kaufman.
Good evening, everyone. Chair Rose could not be here tonight, so he asked me to represent this bill. Basically, at the beginning of every session, the Senate passes an internal bill that sets the funding cap for the session. And it first starts in ORS, where we determine that the funding cap shall not be greater than 3% of the Senate accounts, which this session between CRT and FAO is $780,000. And this would put the cap at $23,400. This means that when students request funding from us, we can give them no more than this $23,400. And we will primarily see this cap with some, but really not many fiscal bills down the road. That is all, and I yield the rest of my time.
Okay, we are now in a period of questioning. I will go Metellus, Gaudio, and then Escobar.
May I ask a follow-up if it's necessary?
Yes, you may.
Really quick. So is that 3% like every year? Is it always 3%? What does that change?
So from my understanding, in the 56th session and possibly the 55th, I believe it was just the 56th, it was at 3.125%, but then in the years prior, it was 3%. So it kind of got moved up, and then today we moved it back down to the 3%. That was to mainly try to alleviate some of our issues that we had with running out of funds a bit earlier in the last session. So we're hoping that this slight decrease will help solve that issue.
He answered my follow-up. Thank you.
Okay. Chair Gaudio.
So you mentioned moving it back down to 3% to kind of alleviate the funding problems, but realistically, how many more RSOs could be funded with the amount that you've taken from, because there's always RSOs that ask for the cap, that always ask for the max amount. How many more RSOs could be funded with, like, how much they typically ask for on the smaller end with the money that you're taking out, if that makes sense? I bungled up.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. We talked about this in committee a bit. With the last year's funding cap, it was at $24,062.50. It would have been $24,375 if it was at the 3.125% again. So it's a $975 decrease. And about 4 or 5 RSOs, I was looking at the trackers, 4 or 5 RSOs in the last session requested the cap. So theoretically, that's about maybe $4,000 to $5,000. And that could fund a lot of individuals in CRT if they're only requesting $200 registration funds. That could fund events in FAO if they're only requesting, $500 for their event. So that money can go to other RSOs and individuals. It's about $5,000.
I'm going to go to Chair Escobar and then come back to you. Okay, Chair Gaudio. Yeah, he said he didn't have a question anymore.
Have you compared this against the inflation over the past year as well to see, because even if an RSO is asking for the same amount, those things may be more expensive. So have you also looked into how it may affect how far they can get with that amount of money?
Yeah, I totally get that. Not necessarily, we did not count specifically for inflation because it was such a small amount of RSOs, and they also are able to get, like, these specific RSOs are ones that happen to get a lot of funding, like, from their departments too. So it helps alleviate that other cost that they have to do, the other half of their bill. And I think the next, like, highest amount on bills was about, there might have been like a 20K and a 15K. So it really is not that many RSOs that get to this amount, if that makes sense.
Are there any other questions? Well, let me look at the Zoom real quick. Senator Rickett?
Yes, my question is, did you take into account any of the current rising costs that there are in the American economy? I know a lot of things are getting more expensive.
That question was already answered by the previous question. Are there any other questions? Seeing Pro Tem Hamid?
Move to debate.
There's been a motion to move to debate. Any objections? Seeing none, we are non-debate. Chair Gaudio.
So, of course, we have to approve this bill. We have to set a limit. However, I do question reducing the amount from 3.125 to 3% because those RSOs that ask for the full funding cap, we also lost a good chunk of money from RSOs essentially sending tons of people requesting individual allocations to go to certain events, and that definitely put a dent in the coffers. I believe for one particular RSO, I ran the math and I think it was like an extra 6,000 on top of what the RSO had asked for. And so, however, because of some of the Title VIII changes that we passed at the end of last session, the fiscal committees can now put a cap on that. And so I question whether it should be reduced. And I want to hear from the rest of the body on their thoughts.
Chair Escobar?
I am in favor of the percentage being reduced. Last session, I believe the number was mentioned was 24 and some $1,000. That's a lot of money. I think having this cap would allow for more RSOs to get more funding, and also so that with other changes being made and being stuff being accounted for, we won't have probably the same issue of running out of money and RSOs requesting a lot of funds before the end of the session.
Pro Tempore Hamid, and then I'll go Senator Metellus.
I agree with the sentiments of the senator before me. I do think that it would help us a lot to reduce the percentage down by 0.125%. While it may not seem like a lot of money, it does add up at the end of the year. I remember last session, it got to the point where CRT and FAO were saying, well, we're going to approve you pending we have money, which is something that we shouldn't be telling RSOs. We shouldn't say, well, we might have money for you, or we might not. I really want us to be able to say, we definitely have money for you. And I think that this is a great way to be able to provide money to a lot of different RSOs. Also, as D. Lake Kaufman said prior, not a lot of RSOs get to this cap. However, with the amount that it does, it's about 5 or 4. That does add up to $5,000, and that does make an impact at the end of the year.
Senator Metellus?
May I retain?
You may not.
I agree with the senators before me, and I'll be voting in favor of this bill.
Okay, I will go. Thought Senator Lipner's hand was up. Never mind. Chair Gaudio?
So hearing the other sentiments from the body, I would also like to raise another sort of question before the body, that being, since so few RSOs ask for this money, and since it does have a noticeable impact on the bottom line, what about the potential of maybe reducing it a little further? Because again, that is a lot of money, and if it's only 6 RSOs asking for that much money, then maybe we could ask for a little less. And so I'd like to put that forward as well.
Okay, Senator Lipner. He types. Does anybody else wish to speak? Yes, to retain. You may not retain, but it says I'm happy with the 3%. And then Chair Escobar.
I would be in favor of lowering the percentage further, but I think the ORS committee put a lot of thought into this, so I'll be voting in favor of the bill as is.
Does anybody else wish to speak in debate? Chair Hernandez.
The question is whether or not we lower it, that would require more analysis. But since the bill is here, I'm voting in favor.
Pro-Tem Hamid?
We will also be seeing this on third reading next week. So if you guys if you guys are interested, you can just take the week to kind of look at the costs or even talk to ORS Chair Rose. With that, move to vote.
Okay, there's been a motion to move to vote. Remember, when we're in debate, the debate is directed towards the chair. Are there any objections?
I do object.
Okay, do you withdraw?
I do.
Okay. Chair Gaudio.
Motion to see my amendment.
There's been a motion to see Chair Gaudio's amendment. Are there any objections? Seeing none, you have 2 minutes.
So I'm just throwing something out there because while it was mentioned that if we want to change it, we could do it on third reading. An amendment on third reading requires a 2/3 vote, whereas on second reading, it only requires majority vote. So I'm putting something forward now. This amendment would reduce it from 3% to 2.8%, which would bring it from 23,400 down to 21,840. I don't on to those few RSOs that are asking for that cap, surely they can cover that extra amount. But for us, we can really make that money go a long way, especially with the concern of we did run out of money very quickly last year. And so I yield.
Okay, we're now in a period of questioning. You guys have 3 minutes. Green, did you have a question?
Were you able to calculate or estimate about how much money that would save student government?
So I do not have so with amounts saved, we have already budgeted our amount that we're giving to FAO and CRT. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head. I'd have to go into the ANSF bill that we did last session. However, assuming it's still just those 6 RSOs, we would save $1,560 per RSO. So multiply that by 6. That would save us about $9,360.
Senator Metellus.
May I direct a question to the ORS chair and a possible follow-up?
The ORS chair is not present.
I mean, the D-leg.
You may.
If it's possible for you to answer, was lowering the percentage below 3% considered at all by ORS, if you know?
No, the 3% number kind of came from in previous sessions. This is what the number was believed to be, that 3%. That's kind of where that number came from. But to answer your question, no, going under 3% was not specifically discussed in committee.
And then a follow-up,
Can you ask for a follow-up first?
I thought I did, sorry.
You didn't?
Oh, may I have a follow-up?
You may.
How do you think lowering it would, I know we know the benefits, but would it hurt us at all, or are there any negatives?
I can't think of any immediate negatives besides RSOs questioning our decision on why we decided to lower it. Like, obviously they see that the cap is immediately lower than what they've seen in years before, and maybe as long as we kind of explain our reasoning and how we were able to come up with this number, and why we're lowering it to help the spread of money and help it go further and not have any issues like we did last session. I think that would help, but other than that, I can't think of any immediate negatives to this.
Okay, I'll go Vice Chair Chow, Senator Green, and then Trejo Hernandez.
Can I direct this question to the D-Leg?
You may.
Do you know any precedent or why specifically, like in previous sessions, why the number was 3%? If not, that's perfectly fine. I was just curious.
No, I do not know where that precedent number came from.
Okay, questioning time has elapsed. Is there a motion? Trejo Hernandez.
Motioning to extend questioning time by 5 minutes.
There's been a motion to extend questioning time by 5 minutes. Are there any objections? Seeing none, questioning time has been extended by 5 minutes, but remember, we're still in questioning over the amendment. Okay, Green, and then Trejo Hernandez.
Sorry, I thought we were in debate
No.
mistakenly.
Okay.
So I'm gonna yield.
Okay, Trejo Hernandez.
Can my question still be related to the amendment, even though it's kind of broad?
Yes, as long as it's about the amendment, the question can be made.
I direct a question to the FAO, CRT, or DLEG, whoever can answer.
Direct it towards the DLEG. Yes.
Do you know how many RSOs has spent over $20,000, just like generally, within the past session?
Within last session, there was not many that were over 20K. If I had to guess, it was maybe 6 or 7, and even that might be a lot. I can, if you want, pull up the numbers, pull up the trackers from last session, if you want, but I believe it's around those numbers.
Chair Gaudio.
Just to kind of add on to that answer, I have the master trackers from the last session pulled up, and this is from a cursory glance. I'm not a fiscal person, but I'm only seeing 4 RSOs that asked for more than 20,000.
Okay, remember we are in questioning. Green.
May I direct a question to anyone who can answer? So if we, like, let's say if we were, pardon?
I said you may.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I kind of started. Anyway, so if we were to say remand this bill back to ORS, because in committee earlier today, I did fight against lowering the funding cap from 3.125 to a like flat 3%. If we were to remand this bill to ORS, would that affect our ability, or would that affect the fiscal committee's ability to fund RSOs in the coming weeks?
I will let the DLEG answer that.
So this bill wouldn't go into effect until July 1st anyway, but it does take a long time. I mean, I'm not sure how expedited the signature process on this is. So assuming it still takes the full, potential 3 weeks to get signatures, passing it now, passing it as soon as possible would be really beneficial.
Is there a motion for a committee member to speak, that being Brody?
So moved.
Go on, Brody.
As long as nobody in the next several weeks is requesting more than that, it won't matter. Even if it takes several weeks to get implemented. But if somebody requested right now, something that was within the range of this cap, they wouldn't be able to fully approve that without knowing what the cap was going to be. One other quick thing I just wanted to mention, as you're looking at past years and those numbers, remember that it is a cumulative cap, right? So they may not have asked for that in one bill, but they may have asked for it over the course of several bills.
Senator Green.
Due to the absence of Chair Rose from tonight's meeting, I motion to remand this bill back to ORS for further review.
There's been a motion to remand this back to ORS. Any objections?
I object.
Okay. Do you withdraw?
I do not.
Ooh, I should have done the second thing instead.
I second it.
Okay. Objector and then motion, correct? Okay. Kaufman, you have 2 minutes.
I only don't want to remand it back to ORS because Chair Rose was present in ORS today when we discussed it, and he was also in favor of lowering the cap to 3%. And I'm sure, and we all will also be seeing this bill on third reading next week if we want to make any more changes. So I don't think it's necessary to bring it back to ORS when it was just seen there today by Chair Rose.
Okay. Senator Green.
While Chair Rose was comfortable lowering the cap to 3%, we did not discuss the 2.8% reduction. For that reason, I believe it would be more appropriate to have ORS review this.
Okay, we are now in voting procedures. Oh, hold on. We will be in voting procedures in a second. Yes is the objection and no is the motion, correct? Okay, so yes, we're not going to put it back in ORS. No, we're going to send it back to ORS. I know Ryan didn't want to send it back to ORS. Yes is Ryan, no is Corson. See? With a vote count of 23 to 13 to 0, we will not be remanding this back to ORS. We are still in questioning over the amendment. Is there a motion? Senator Metellus.
Move to debate.
There's been a motion to move to debate over the amendment. Any objections? Seeing none, you have 3 minutes. Senator Green.
So I will be voting in negation of the bill. Sorry, amendment. Oh my God. Anyway, I'll be voting in negation of the amendment. So after our ORS meeting today, I did reach out to Chair Rose to basically have him elaborate further on like the costs and the benefits of lowering the funding cap to 3%. And from his response, I was comfortable with that. You know, she's fiscally conservative, but she's socially liberal, and I was okay with that. But lowering it further, I'm not comfortable with that.
Okay. Anybody else wish to speak in debate? I also appreciate your joke, but in the future. Chair Escobar and then Senator Metellus.
I am in favor of lowering the percentage. I've had discussions with faculty within my college who are like really concerned with like the amount of money that RSOs are getting, and then some RSOs get none. So I'll be voting in favor of this amendment.
Troy Hernandez. Oh, Senator Metellus. I'm so sorry. Senator Metellus.
I agree with the sentiments of the previous senator. At first I wasn't sure about it, but now seeing that like there aren't really too many negatives of it being a little lowered, and the positives are really big because we will have more money to give to RSOs. And last year we ran out of money really fast, and it was very, very disappointing to see. So I think we should make our cushion a lot better this year, you know, to be able to maximize how much money we can give.
Okay, Troy Hernandez.
It's a question.
You may ask.
To the D leg, how many of those like who have met their cap or have gone over 20,000 are engineering RSOs?
I have the trackers pulled up. I can look at them really quickly. I believe it's 3.
Deezer Capinos.
I just want to say I think I'm in favor of the amendment. I believe that having more money to go to RSOs is going to be beneficial, and lowering the cap is going to force some RSOs that maybe ask for the full amount, or you say there's only about, let's say, the range of 3 to 6 RSOs that ask for that much money in an entire fiscal year anyway. I think that's going to force them to think about money a little bit differently and how they can allocate that and also get funding from other resources. Because at the end of the day, I think it's better to have more money to give to RSOs that maybe don't know as much and ask for less, right? Than give to money to these RSOs that ask for a lot and maybe they don't use all the money that they have for the purposes that they need. Let's say they ask for some extra money because they want to throw something else in and not that it's going to be the most important thing to have. So lowering this cap is going to force those RSOs to prioritize what they need for their events going in the future. So I would be voting in favor of this amendment, and I urge everyone to do the same.
Okay, debate time has elapsed. Is there a motion? Chair Gaudio.
Move to vote.
There's been a motion to move to vote on the amendment. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now on voting procedures. With a vote count of 33 to 5 to 0, these amendments pass. We are still in debate over the bill. There's 2 minutes remaining in overall debate. Is there a motion? Pro Temp Hamid.
Move to vote.
There's been a motion to move to vote on this bill. Are there any objections? Seeing none, we are now in voting procedures. With a vote count of 36 to 2-0, Internal Bill 5701 passes second reading. Next, we have Internal Bill 5702, updates to Title VI, adding chair to initial election commission meeting. Chair Gaudio, you have 5 minutes whenever you're ready.
May I first make a motion?
You may.
I move to suspend the rules such that second reading shall be final debate for this bill.
I will not see that motion because we have time.
Including signatures?
No, we have time to just move it to third reading. I don't want to suspend.
That would be faster, but okay. Well, you have to suspend anyway, move to third reading, whatever. Anyways, so in essence, what this bill was in oversight in a bill that passed at the end of last session. At the end of last session, the Senate voted and approved changing the supervisor of elections from being appointed by the student body president to being elected from within the election commission. However, there was a small caveat in that there was no provision for who would chair the meeting where the supervisor would be elected. And it is very difficult to elect a supervisor at a meeting that has no chair. And so in essence, I wrote this in the span of 10 minutes right before the ENA meeting. This is a short and sweet. Basically, the ENA chair will chair the first meeting while the supervisor of elections is being elected. Once they're elected, they yield the chair. The supervisor must elect the assistant supervisor. It's just like how we do it with the Senate president and the pro tempore. This is a very, but until this bill passes, technically, we cannot have a new supervisor of elections. So I yield.
Senator Metellus.
I wanted to let him speak, but I would like to decorum Chair Gaudio because I just feel like the comment that he made after the speaker made a final decision was unnecessary and the tone was also unnecessary, whether or not the comment was factual.
Okay, are there any questions for the individual? Seeing none, we are now in a period of debate on this bill. Does anybody wish to speak in debate? Vice Chair Candeloro.
Move to vote.
There's been a motion to vote. Any objections? Chair Gaudio?
Object.
Okay. Do you withdraw? Chair Gaudio.
I forgot I put this in there. Can we approve my amendment as through general consent? These are just small, basically statutory language. Again, I wrote this very quickly.
There's been a motion to approve Chair Gaudio's amendments by general consent. Are there any objections? Seeing none, they stand approved. Vice Chair Candeloro.
Move to vote.
There's been a motion to move to vote. Any objections? Seeing none, we are now on voting procedures. Okay, with a vote count of 37 to 0-1, Internal Bill 5702 passes second reading. Okay, is there a motion to go on, Chair Gaudio? You got it.
Well, how do you want to move through?
Okay. Is there a motion to move Internal Bill 5702 to third reading? Is there a motion to move the notice of legislation on third reading? Is there a motion to approve Internal Bill 5702 by general consent? Okay, we're done. Okay, we're done with legislation too. Senate forum, none. Senate deliberation, none. Advisors report, Brody.
Hello, everyone. My computer died, so I've been running the meeting for the last 10 minutes from my phone. We're doing great. But for the record, if I can run the polls and everything from my phone, you all can definitely participate if you're on your phone. Okay. I did. I don't have any big announcements. I just wanted to say, as much fun as confirmations are, I'm excited for you all to start getting into kind of more traditional Senate business, funding, all those fun things. seeing internal bills and rushing them through. Classic Senate business. Man, I really had something else, but it's gone. Yep, I don't know. This transition has been a little bit weird, having it have been shifted to summer, and so kind of doing all of the transition at the same time as this. So if you need anything, if you're missing something, I feel like there's lots of things that I would normally have done but haven't. Just reach out to me. Just let me know. I'm around and happy to help. So yeah, just let me know. Let's do some senator shoutouts. It's my favorite. I'm going to the list. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, who's got? All right, Bobby, go.
Shout out, my Vice Chair Chow. What? I'm not sure, but she's taking ENA minutes from Vietnam at like 1 a.m. in the morning. So shout out to her. Big props to my Vice Chair.
Speaking of, Vice Chair Chow.
Oh, you know what I was gonna say? Shout out to Chair Escobar, and I have another shout out, but especially shout out to Chair Escobar for just being so patient and just being so to communication, and especially with handling all these appointments. Oh my gosh, I bet it's so overwhelming, and I really, really, really do respect all the work that he has done for this committee. My second shout out is going to be for Chair Gaudio, because when I'm gone, he is definitely taking those minutes, and he takes wonderful minutes. I'm sorry, you're still stuck on minutes as long as I'm vice chair. So thank you so much.
All right. Yeah, Zach.
My wonderful Vice Chair Trejo Hernandez. She does a phenomenal job. LJR as a whole, you guys are great. And Senator Rodriguez for getting your class situation sorted out. You did a great job to still be involved. We love it. We love to see it. And the Attorney General for doing a phenomenal job. Oh my Lord. Again, he got through them so fast.
All right, Carson.
Shout out to Chair Sherman. I had a constituent reach out earlier today regarding like a CRT question, and I wasn't quite sure, so I forwarded it over to him, and he answered it. So thank you for that. That was great. And my constituent got helped.
We love a constituent being helped. All right. Any other senator shoutouts? All right, cool. Thanks.
Okay, any questions for Brody? Seeing none, Madavi?
No remarks. You guys are great. Good night.
Any questions for Madavi? Seeing none, miscellaneous business, resignations. I hereby resign ELA Reed from ENA and ILA Rudy from LJR. Hamid's baddie boundary breaking outfit ranking.
I want you all to know that Brody texted me mid-meeting being like, do you want me to approve things without telling you? And I think this is why. Okay, I also think this was made by Senator Zivin, correct? Okay, so like, you know what this kind of eats? That you did a good job. It is a little inappropriate. So like, I don't know if I would call you guys baddies in here. Just because I don't know like how many connotations are with that. So I'll give this. What? Well, like I don't want to call them that because like that's inappropriate, Brody. I'm gonna give this a 7.5. Also, there's like no scale to this ranking. It's like how I rank movies. Okay, I gotta look at the fits. This is really hard. Every week I come in, you guys are serving face and serving fits. I didn't say that. Okay. Third place, Senator Green. I love the fit and the chain. Okay, give us a twirl if you're comfortable. I don't know. I love accessories. Second place, I'm gonna give Sergeant Bonaventure. I love the out. Give us a twirl if you want to. Okay. So first place, I'm actually gonna give it to Senator Zivin because I think she's serving with that skirt. I also just want to say, guys, I'm not a fashionista. Look at the outfits I wear. It's giving corporate man. And I'm sorry, but one day maybe I'll serve bits like I serve face.
Okay, we're done. Jones. We're done with the meeting.
Motion to adjourn meeting.
There's been a motion.
Pending final roll call.
There's been a motion to adjourn this meeting pending final roll call. Any objections?
I object.
Oh my gosh, Jimmy, I saw your hand up and everything. And I just ignored. I'm so sorry. Okay. Do you withdraw?
Yes, I withdraw.
Okay, Jimmy, you can go. I'm so sorry.
I just have a quick announcement for Senate. I just want to remind you guys of the forms that I put at the beginning of the agenda today. If you guys could just take, it's like 3 minutes to just fill those out about any events that you wish to see this summer. And if you want to give event ideas for the fall events are going to be a lot more larger in scale and more grand, if that makes sense. The summer events are meant to be a little bit smaller just because we have a little bit more of a tighter knit community at campus currently. So if you guys could just fill that out, and if you have any questions or concerns about how to get to the form, just email me. My email is always open. But yeah, it should only take like 2 or 3 minutes though.
Okay. Last thing, and then we can leave. Pro Tem Hamid.
Okay, for those of you guys don't know, it's Dilek Kaufman's birthday, the big 2-0. And all day he's been in Senate meetings. He was like, today I'm dedicating to Senate. And I said, no, don't do that. So we're gonna sing him happy birthday. We did this in Senate exec, but we're doing it again right now. Okay, ready, everyone? Okay, if you're in the chamber, don't turn on your mics, but I'll keep my mic on. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday
Happy
to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy
Happy birthday, dear Ryan.
Ryan.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
to you.
Okay. Then I guess like last thing for me, because I know that when we're doing Senate business, it's grueling, it's serious. So I hope that you guys do like at the end of the meetings, we have fun. And I hope it makes you guys love Senate a little more because I love Senate and this is fun. Jones.
Motion to adjourn meeting pending final roll call.
There's been a motion to adjourn this meeting pending final roll call. Any objections? Seeing none, Chair Gaudio, you have the floor.
Actually, I'm in a chair. Luke Paul,
Present.
Anna Reed,
Present.
Olivia Smith,
Present.
Angelia Washis,
Present.
Gabriel Casimiro,
Present.
Christopher Corelli,
Present.
James Capinos,
Present.
JC Lim,
Present.
Ahasra Sadvika, Jonah Scott,
Present.
Ni Chao,
Present.
Trooper, Shivi Jain, Owen Sherman,
Present.
Danae Smith,
Present.
Arwa Ali,
Present.
Melva D,
Present.
Jason Hamid,
Present.
Ryan Kaufman,
Present.
Nicholas Luch,
Present.
Jordan Metellus,
Present.
Kai Prohl,
Present.
Peter Rorcasa,
Present.
Samuel Rose, Grace Rudy,
Present.
Daisy Trejo Hernandez,
Present.
Terry Fawcett,
Present.
Mohammed Kidwai, Nathan Rickett,
Present.
Kushi Chauhan,
Present.
Bobby Escobar,
Present.
Ibrahim Nassim, Rose Rodriguez, Katrina Wanjun, Ella Weiderberg,
Present.
Orson Green,
Present.
Diana Wynn, Anthony Bonaventure,
Present.
Veronica Perez,
Present.
Halima Al-Quda, El Banesh, Jocelyn Candeloro,
Present.
Kirsten Courts,
Present.
Victoria Jones,
Present.
Angelique Leon,
Present.
Abby Matthews,
Present.
Isabella McRae, Spurthi Nursimadeva, Cameron Renda, Alex Rosenblum, Mariah Simmons,
Present.
Mila Teodorescu,
Present.
Juan Varela, Julia Zivan,
Present.
Jordan Lipner.
Present.
All right, let me take one last look through the chat in case anyone said anything. say so now or forever hold your peace. All right, 42 out of 56.
Okay, I hereby adjourn this meeting at 8:45 p.m.